Hello and welcome to another episode of Xbox Infinite. Sorry about the tech difficulties. Full disclosure, I slightly slept in a little bit and I'd normally have everything ready to go, but I didn't have everything ready to go, so I had to juggle to get it happening. But we got it happening, and we have a magnificent show for you today with an awesome guest. Epic Treasure, welcome to the show. How you doing? What have you been up to? Tell the people what you've been playing and a little bit about yourself and what you've been up to.
Hello, thank you for having me. I've been playing Diablo quite a lot yesterday. Jim Cutie and I were putting together quite a customizable collection, which was very fun. But besides that, yeah, they're hot, very hot. Daddy's in there.
You stayed just a little bit too long. I think you were just like, oh yeah, I'm just going to change the makeup back and forward just to stay a
let
little
you pick
longer.
it. Yeah, but what I usually do, I just make guides and tutorials for games like Dragon's Dogma, Elden Ring. Usually when I'm playing games and I come across something that's difficult, then I'll go make a guide on that and then hopefully help other people get through their games too. So that's my thing. That's what I like to do. Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, welcome to the show. I have checked out a couple of your guides. That's how I found you and then found you on Twitter. And it's fantastic to have you here.
Thank you.
Doom Cutie, another amazing week for gaming. How's your week been? What have you been up to? What have you been? You've been playing Diablo 4 for around about 2 weeks, right?
Yeah, I have. So I was one of the very fortunate members of the gaming community to have access to the pre-launch Diablo 4, which was amazing to say the least. And unfortunately, your progress doesn't save from all that lovely gaming. So, I'm starting anew. I don't think it gives me any of an advantage because I just love taking it slow, to be honest. So yeah, I'm really enjoying myself. I was on there all day yesterday, all night. Went to bed pretty late, a bit past my bedtime. But outside of that, I just keep up with my regular maintenance games, which are World of Warcraft and Forza. So I'll jump on those, and then whatever's got my main attention. I also bought the Bratz game. Look, whatever, you can call me out, that's fine. But I'm having a great time being a social media manager of Bratz magazine in that game. It just breaks it up a little bit, so I'm not totally in hell all the time, even though I'm quite enjoying myself.
A social media manager of the Bratz magazine.
Yeah.
That's
like Chloe, Jade, Yasmin.
That's very interesting. We will have to talk about that later on because that Pete, how you doing? Welcome to the show. What have you been up to? What have you been playing? How's your Bratz social media management going?
Yeah, terrible because I don't know what the hell you guys are talking about. But I wish I was playing Diablo, to be honest. It's got its hooks into me. I'm level 27. I had a 12-hour gaming session yesterday, straight Diablo. It was awesome. And prior to that, we were playing a bit of Gotham Knights. And I know that you didn't particularly like it, but I really did enjoy playing it. So I know everyone in the community had a lot of hate about that game. But look, I got it for $36 and I thought it was great. But yeah, look, it's Diablo for me and future.
Absolutely. Me too. I wasn't expecting you to finish talking then. Then I was playing with my settings. Infinite Umbra. Huh? How you doing?
You're playing with your what?
Settings.
I thought he was going to say playing with himself at first.
Oh, so did I, actually.
That's not.
Oh, I'm glad I'm not the only one. I don't feel like so much of a creep now.
Yeah.
Oh, what?
Infinite.
Oh, that took a turn. How's your week been? What have you been up to? What have you been playing with yourself? Playing on your Xbox?
I don't know, man. I've been up to no good. Trying to find myself a sugar mama. The results are not the greatest right now. Everybody seems to be like 60 plus years old. I don't know. It's not working out. But anyway, no, I've been playing a lot of different games, man. And I'm doing my own podcast.
Yeah.
And I just recently bought Diablo, so I can get in on this with everybody. I'm tired of all of you celebrating.
Congratulations, bro.
Yeah, I got the old the deluxe edition. So yeah, I'll be joining in on that fun tonight.
Didn't you just literally just got it right now, right?
Yeah.
Literally, just now.
Literally. That word is way overused by millennials. Literally.
Yep. However, in this case,
Actually,
it was
it's not.
correct.
It's literally overused. Literally.
Thank you, Enigmatic. I'm going to keep searching. Yes, I'm going to keep searching and keep that dream alive. I want you all to root for me. And if you get any leads, let me know.
Well, hey, honey, if I find a decent sugar mama, I'm gonna be in her DMs.
Also, you're just gonna betray me, even though you know that's what I want. I see how it is.
How did this show take this turn? Anyway, look, what have I been playing? What have I been up to? If anyone cares, Diablo 4, and yeah, we're playing a little bit of Gotham Knights. I just don't really vibe with that game. I just need a block. I think the combat's too simplistic, and it's the 30 frames aren't terrible, but when it drops frames, man, it drops frames hard.
You weren't even using your momentum abilities. Like, that's what mixes it up.
It's because I don't need them. I'm just that good. So yeah, Diablo for me, it's probably Diablo all the way. I'll probably not go back to Gotham unless I'm in a complete pinch. What's coming after this? This is
Starfield.
This is the game we've been waiting for. And then it's Starfield. But there's what else? I really don't know. Well, let's jump into the topics. Before we do get going, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. If you are new here, we go live at 8 p.m. Friday EST. If you're in the US, if you're in Australia, I think it's 10, but they keep changing the times on me, so it's 10 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. We're going to talk about the Xbox showcase because a lot happened this week. And even Xbox was getting in on the leaks and the little reveals. So we'll jump into that, and I want to have a bit of a conversation about Fable to start with, because earlier in the week, Xbox sort of released a little bit of a video. If you guys haven't seen it, I will pop it up on the screen. Oh, it's got the sound there. I will pop it up on the screen. So that you guys can see it. Let me just flick over to here and flick over to there, and then I'll flick over to here. Now, this is Xbox and a little bit of a live sort of action thing with a bit of glitter. Now, and the music, if you guys you can't hear it, obviously, because I've muted that, is very Fableistic. And if you've played Fable before, you know you have to follow a glitter trail to get to any of your objectives. And so I personally think this is Fable. There's been a lot of conversations about how Xbox likes to do this and then misstep. And they might be releasing a Fable collection. It could be. I really don't think you can misstep this hard. This is something that they fall flat on their face with if it isn't Fable. And I think me and Umbra have been saying for quite some time that we both believe that Fable would be at the show. So I'm going to jump to Epic. I've sort of seen you following this on Twitter as well. And then I saw you sort of, someone mentioned, I think it was Grub earlier in the week, later in the week, said he doesn't think it's Fable. And if he does, if it isn't, and they don't show Fable, it's a massive misstep. So what are your thoughts, sure. Epic? Do you think this is Fable? What happens if it's not?
I think it's a massive misstep if it is not. But the glitter trail, I know people were saying it's the wrong color, etc. But the music was very Fable-esque. I think most people who played Fable latched onto that immediately and understood the trail, what that is, and music. But also there was a tweet today, I think it was, where Aaron Greenberg had a picture of him standing out the front of the food court area, and behind them you can see the letters ABLE, and so people latched onto that, saying that now he's leaking or alluding to the fact that Fable's in it. But he sort of said, no, I didn't say that. That wasn't my intimation. But he was referring to his own tweet, not the one that was put up there by the Xbox account. So in my list of predictions, Fable is there. It was not right at the top, but after seeing that tweet, though, the music, the trail, I was like, well, if that's not, then it's a problem, because somebody should have quality assured that and went, no, probably not post that if that's not accurate. But they're known to do those things, though, the main Xbox account. Just like the ANZ account always plays fun word games with different Xbox games, you know. They're always doing that. I remember they did one with like a Microsoft desktop background, and they had little logos in the clouds, etc. So they're always doing little Easter eggs all the time. So I don't think Xbox ever does anything by just accident. So I'm convinced personally that was a Fable reference, but not Aaron Greenberg's one, which he said it wasn't anyway. But
no,
yeah.
he did come out and say, I think it was Idle Sloth who posted
yes.
the picture of him, and he came out and said, I've not teased anything, prefer our fans to be surprised when they watch live, but it does feel like right now if I sneeze, someone will say X game confirmed. Love you all and the passion. Keep it coming. Love Aaron. Aaron is an absolute champion, but he, I don't know. Like he probably, man, I don't know if he should have, if he like sort of checked his photo, because it does look like Fable, right? At the back on the top left-hand corner. It could definitely be a thing.
So funny.
And then Colt Eastwood's done a sort of a parody photo where he's put glitter up at the top there, and then he's actually put in the F, so it says Fable in the background. Yeah, look, I do you think it's going to be there?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
You absolutely believe that that's it?
Look, if it's not Fable, I thought that it could potentially. I mean, it's going to be Fable related, obviously, but I didn't know if it was going to be like a 20th anniversary 1 to 3 collection, or it's actually Fable. So I don't know. I expect to see something Fable-esque from it, but I'm not sure which one that it will be though. But it's crazy if that's not Fable related and that post was allowed. I think that's wacky and wild, mind-blowing.
They do that though, don't they? Cutie, look, you've probably been following this through the week as well, and you've seen the tweet. It's pretty exciting for everyone in the Xbox community because it's almost a confirmation. And it's that little almost, we're close to the confirmation, but it's not quite a confirmation. What do you think? Do you think that they're planning a Fable collection? Do you think that this is the Fable 4 that we've been waiting to see? Do you think it'll be gameplay? Or do you think it'll be CGI? We'll get into that later, what they should or shouldn't do. But what do you think it means? Or do you think we're just going to get a Fable collection?
Look, I think it's highly possible with the success of the Master Chief Collection that they could be releasing something along those lines in regards to Fable. But Epic Treasure's so spot on when she's talking about the way that their social media teams work. There not many things are done without purpose. So, and people have always got their finger on the pulse, trying to, see, what the next clue is going to be about what's going to happen. But whether or not it's a full new game or just a remaster collection, I hope it's a new game, but I think bringing the Fable franchise to a new audience, and even some of the most devout audience as well, in a more updated way, I think would still be a good thing for gamers. If it is a new IP or a remaster collection, I do think that we will see gameplay, and I think we will see gameplay and we will see CGI. I think we'll see some kind of trailer, and the trailer will have gameplay in it.
A bit of a mix of both.
Yeah. I think that would be the smartest thing.
Both gameplay and CGI, and of what?
If it is
Fable game?
Yeah, if it is a remaster, like they did with the Master Chief Collection, I think we'll see both. If it's Fable, like a brand new Fable, we'll probably see just CGI.
And is that okay? We'll talk about that later. What if it's okay? Well, no, just a quick quiet. Is it okay if they do CGI?
Yeah.
Okay. JediKnightPete, what do you think? Do you think that this is the Fable we've been waiting for, or do you think that this is just a remaster collection, or do you think it's just a massive misstep if it's not either of those?
I think that I went through all the soundtrack of all the old Fable games, and I tried to find the music, like that exact music that they put on that tweet, and I couldn't find it. However, when I kept listening to the songs of the soundtrack, the music was extremely reminiscent of Fable. Glitter, trail, it was very strange the way the whole tweet was put out there. I mean, that could have been done literally in 5 minutes. Such a big game like Fable, could it have been done better? I suppose it got the community talking, so it actually did the right thing. Now, my view on it is very subjective. I want to see Fable so bad, so I'm hoping it is Fable. I'm really hoping it's Fable. I think it's ready. Going on the back of what Matt Booty said last year, that he really wanted to show it last year, and they didn't allow him to show it because Playground weren't ready yet. It's been a whole year since then. I think that they have to be ready now. If he thought that they were ready last year, then they have to be ready now. So I do think we will see something. Whether or not that is gameplay, I don't think so. And the reason being is this game's being built from the ground up in an engine that's never been used for this. And we all know that they're bringing in new talent. They're going to have to train them up on the Forza engine. So all that takes time. I don't actually think we're going to see a release of Fable till 2025. And if that is the case, I don't think they're ready for gameplay. But what I do think we'll see is actual in-engine footage. And honestly, if done well, I think that should be enough.
You don't think we're going to see it till 2025?
Yeah, I really don't think we'll see it till 2025. At the very best, very late 2024. But I think
Pete's
that
breaking our
allocation
hearts over here. Oh, no.
the allocation for that time slot has already pretty much been taken up by other things, and I think Xbox are going to need to start breaking up the games, because they're honestly got too much coming out, and they're going to need to allocate time slots for certain games. Fable, I think, would be one of the biggest things that is coming to Xbox. It's beloved. The franchise is beloved, and rightfully so. Fable 2 is one of the best games ever made. Do I think we'll get a remastered edition? That would be cool. I mean, I know we got Fable 1, but Fable 2 is the game that I'm really hoping for. I absolutely love that game. It's beautiful in every way. So that would be cool also. Do I think we should see that in the showcase? No.
Oh, you don't think so? Okay. Very interesting. Infinite Umbra, I'm very curious to see what you think, because I know that you earlier said if it's not the actual Fable, the new one coming, you believe that's an owl. But if it's a collection, do you still feel the same? I mean, do you think this is the Fable game? I think it would be a massive misstep myself, but do you think that that this is a collection, or is it Fable 4?
I dare say both could be there. As we were talking about in a chat some days ago, I said, what if it's both? And I think that still makes sense. Phil, if you all could recall, when he spoke on the Kind of Funny podcast during the redemption arc of Redfall for him, he said we have collections. So that sounds to me like he was speaking of multiple games collections.
Sure.
Which could be Gears, the often rumored Gears collection, Marcus Phoenix collection, whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
And of course, now, after I gave it thought, Fable. I'm one of the first, if I'm not mistaken, to actually float the idea of Fable being the collection on any podcast. You can go and look back and see this. I was one of the first to say that. So I believe.
But I mean, you got the idea from me because I said it to you.
Oh no.
Oh my God.
Well, I was actually going to say you copied me, right? Because I
Lord.
think I brought that up in the party. I don't know, man.
No one gets
Leave it.
No one
That's
gets
the way I
Leave it
remember.
to these colonizers to steal this from the black man and claim it as that.
Wow.
And the colonizer woman didn't want to co-sign for them. Oh God. No, I'm joking.
Pete, I did the
Seriously.
same thing as you did, and I went through all of the music on YouTube. But then I did a sneaky thing. I grabbed that tweet and did a little bit of a coverage for it, just to see if it would be picked up from YouTube by the copyright owner. So it was sneaky,
that's
wasn't it?
Smart. Wow.
I know.
Love
But nothing has popped up. So I just wanted to find out who owns it, and nothing. So that didn't work
Yeah.
out.
Okay,
Yeah, that
so
was
it's
very
reminiscent of
clever.
Bowerville. That's the closest that I could
Yes.
come to it. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that it's reminiscent, right? It's clear that they're trying to give you that tease. And, as people pointed out, it's not exact. Of course it's not, but it sounds very close. And I don't think that's a mistake that they're playing that and showing the glitter and all that. That's not by happenstance. But the thing would be that if they advertise this like that, I do agree with Jeff Grubb in a sense that if they advertise this the way they did, and it doesn't show up, either one, be it a collection, remastered hopefully in Unreal Engine 5, or the newest game from Playground, that's an L. And we all have to acknowledge that. That is an L if they don't show either one of these there at this showcase. And by the way, it's been like 5 years since Playground has started working on this game. There is no reason why we should not see some type of vertical slice, a 2 minute something. Mind you, they are not the ones stepping away from development to give us this. That is outsourced. So there's no excuse to say, well, they're doing this. They're making
If the rest of the show's successful, Umbra, and it goes the way I think it's going to go, and they still don't show it, I don't think that's going to take away the narrative. You know, I really don't.
Not for me. It's the same situation with if PlayStation showed everything and didn't show factions. I would be like, where's factions?
I don't know. In saying that, brother, I think we're going to see something.
I still hope it's a great show. I'm sure it's going to be. But that doesn't take away from why we're not seeing anything after at least 3 years since they announced it, right?
Playground games are known for this, but they're known for not showing their game until they're ready to show it. So they even do the same thing with Forza Horizon. So they will keep that in their back pocket until they want to show it. And if that's the way that developers want to play it, I'm very happy for them to do that.
I'm not. At this point, after 5 years, they should be showing something. And, and it's a bit of Microsoft's on their end to kind of push that. The last time we heard about it was from Matt Booty like a year and some months back. And he said it looked ready then. But he respected their wishes not to show anything at that point. Okay, so now it's been enough time, increased with that year and then some months. They should have something to show here. Again, they don't have to take time away to show 30 minutes, 40. All they need to show us is 2 minutes, maybe a flyover of the land to show us what the world looks like, what the styling of the world looks like, even the characters, how does the design of the characters look like. That is manageable.
And we'll definitely get into that, but I'm just going to track back to something that you said about the music, because we had a bit of a conversation in text a couple of days ago about this, and I did want to have an in-person, well, we're not in person, but a peer-to-peer conversation about this one. So the music is definitely Fableistic, but it's not from any specific game. I think that's been confirmed many times, but it's very Fableistic. It does sound like Fable.
It does,
And no one can seem to find where that music's been pulled from. So we had a conversation, and my contention was, I definitely think this is Fable, because if you were remastering a collection, it's very, very, unless it's a complete remake, which is one that they're doing, it's very, very rare that you'll be rechanging the music. You'll just remaster that music and use the same music. So why would they go through and get a whole different score? Build a completely different score for a remaster, unless, and this is where you both comes into it, right? Unless they're already building that music for Fable, which they would be, and they pull a little bit of that score and put it on the collection, which I think would be a massive misstep.
That's one way to do it.
Yeah.
But, my contention to that was, my idea and thought was, well, maybe it's the collection. And they're only playing this slightly different music, for one, not to fully allude, to at least to give away the plot, but also to say it is Fable, but not the regular Fable. So maybe it's the collection. You see what I'm saying? So it's different, but it's still Fable. So
it'll take away the surprise if you did the exact same music. So I agree with that. I think that alluding to it is a lot better way of doing it.
Yeah, look, absolutely, and that's where I was sort of ruminating that, like, okay, sure, they're building a new Fable game, they could pull some of that score and use it to pitch a collection, and then tracking forward back to what you guys were talking about. I want to go through the panel on this one. Do we think? I sort of lost where I am because I was reading, copy pasting, and doing a whole bunch of stuff in the background. But do we think that that it's a massive L if they don't show up? And if they do show up, do they need to show gameplay? I personally don't think so. I would probably be on the side of Pete on this one, because and a lot of people saying we've already seen a CGI, we've already seen that, we've blah, blah, blah. But what we saw was a logo reveal. They revealed that they're making it. They didn't show us anything of a CGI, really. I mean, it's a ferry flying through a land. It was really nothing but a logo reveal. So if we see if we end up seeing Fable and it's CGI, but it's in reference to the game. So I'm not saying it should be an in-engine. This is what we're going for. This is the style. This is the.
But it's a representation of what we'll kind of get you saying.
Yeah, like an art style.
Yeah,
So
like the cutscenes and stuff like that. Like we're seeing incredible cutscenes out of Diablo 4, and look at the type of game that is. So if I was able to get a taste of what the story is going to feel like, how am I going to feel playing this game, I think that will connect with gamers a lot. And so I don't think it's an L if they only show CGI.
Yeah,
now,
I think it's all around
the
how
typical
they do it.
thing. I kind of agree with you on that, Risk. I mean, I can kind of see that, but I will say that typically most people have had the thought that if you're showing CGI, it should be for the first time you reveal it and announce it, right? So I can see that what you're saying, but I can also see people saying, that's not a good look after all these years. That's all you can do is show us another CGI thing. So I think it could backfire if that's the case.
But potentially, like the way these things kind of roll out is like we get this CGI, we get there'll be probably multiple trailers, and then
but we're talking about specifically for this show. See, I'm
yeah,
not talking about.
I know what you're saying, but I don't.
You want to
but
see
I
this
don't.
at the show where there's the biggest thing where you have to showcase it in its best form.
Yeah,
and
but
at the
I
showcase,
don't
they
think
need to show us something.
I don't think they're only going to show us CGI. I think that they will
You're saying they're
show.
going to show that, and
They will show. They will show.
Oh yes, I'm for
if it's
that.
there, they'll show a montage. It'll be CGI mixed with in-game, and
that'd be
like
great.
spliced together. I think that's the best way for them to present Fable
I would
to people.
co-sign that 100%. If they did it that way, I would agree with you 100%.
Yeah, but
I think they can do that.
But Cutie,
They can possibly do that.
Do you think it's an L though? Do you think it's a misstep if they only show CGI representative of the game?
For me, no. For other people, maybe. But I can tell you damn right they're going to do a hell of a lot better than PlayStation, just saying. So I think just showing this is their IP. They're having their IP there, whether or not it's a CGI trailer, whether it's in-engine footage, whether it is gameplay. I still think it's going to be amazing.
Let me ask you all something. I see something in the comment, Backbone 5. It says the game got restarted. When did the game get restarted? You all hear anything about that?
Yeah, so there was we did talk about this. This is a while ago where they said they didn't say anything about restarting the game, so that's just fundamentally incorrect.
Yeah, that's incorrect.
Yeah, so they said they were having problems with development. There was nothing to say that they actually restarted the game. There's been no rumors to say they restarted the game, so I don't know where that's coming from. And Cutie, to your point about PlayStation, I think pretty much Xbox could just turn up and then that would be a win. Epic.
I will say though about the restart of the development. I know that was debunked. I don't think it was restarted, but you have to remember that they've been recruiting so hard for this team. So the game could look a lot different. The CGI could look very different because their art teams have been updated. So I think regardless, I think what we're going to see is going to be massively different.
Yeah, so there was
I wonder.
There was a rumor, just quickly, and it was debunked by Jez Corden. So yeah, there was a rumor saying that it had been restarted. Yeah, but it's been debunked.
It was untrue.
So,
yeah. I don't think anything restarted. And I think Playground is capable enough. We know that they were hiring people to bring in during all of that, and they still are. But I've heard nothing to confirm that it was restarted. Backbone. So no, that's just untrue.
When they first showed Fable, I think they did a very good job in showing the personality of the game, that they weren't going to lose that humor that made the game so popular, and I love that. We do need to see more now, whether that be actually in gameplay. I don't think so. I think if we see in-game footage, show what the game's going to look like in engine on this Forza Tech engine, which hasn't been used for anything else apart from Forza Horizon games. I think that will go a long way to alleviate the stresses on the community, whether or not Playground can pull this off. I think that's all they really need to show. I've been fence sitting on this, and I typically don't like to do that. I don't know if they're going to show gameplay or if they're going to just show in-engine footage. I would rather gameplay, but if we just get in-engine footage, I'll be happy.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with CGI that represents the game. I've got no issue with that. I think it's fine after a logo reveal. I think, but Epic Treasure, I'm really curious to think. Obviously we all want to see gameplay. That's what we want. We all know that. But Epic, do you think it's a loss for Xbox, especially after this little tease that they've done, if they do have Fable there and they don't show gameplay?
Absolutely. I'm locking it in. Yeah, it's a big L. You can't tease something that big and just go, oh, he's the same old. Yeah, we need to have progression, and I don't think anybody wants to see the same. They want to see, all the time that we've been waiting, something a little bit more than snippets. So
No,
that's what I think.
Yeah,
Some
no,
progress.
I think you're right, but I think even if we are shown CGI, I think we will get something different. And I've been harping on about this for a little while. I haven't heard anyone actually mention this, and I spoke with Monad a little bit about it because we both are big fans of the Forza Horizon 5, and the character models in there have changed. And they used to be very, very jank back in the day when it first came out. So I would not be surprised if they have been testing character model mechanics inside, or even just styles. I don't know, but something definitely changed within the last 6 months in the characters in Forza Horizon 5. So I think the team at Playground Games are definitely going to show us something really exciting.
Yeah, look, I don't think it needs to be gameplay. I mean, progression would be fine. Epic, I definitely get the sentiment. Umbra, I get the sentiment. I would love gameplay. I want gameplay. I just don't think it's a huge loss. I think it does give us. It'll give us like an idea. Hey, if they're showing gameplay, cool. We know that they're within the 2 years out, so that we know that. If they're showing a CGI, okay, that's when you got to start going. How far out is this game?
A lot of people assume that the game could drop next year. I don't. I'm with you, Pete. I think you believe it. So it'll be 2025, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, that's what I think, bro.
So at that point, Risk, you have to have something to show at that point. It's only 2 years away. As there's no reason why they shouldn't have some type of something. That would be that'd be 7 years of development. There's no way they can't have something to show by this point. No way. Now, I will say if they didn't show gameplay but did an in-engine run, I believe. I think, Pete, you just said that a minute ago, didn't you? If they did an engine and then mixed it like what QD was talking about with the CGI, I could accept that. I cannot accept not seeing the game on how it will represent the characters in the world, though. I don't want to see just CGI. Not at this point. Not after all these years. Not after they did that teaser. I just think they need to show something of how the world looks. We need to see something, proof of concept. Because
I agree with
CGI it would just make it look like there'd been no progress. It would cause more concern than hope. You know what I mean?
And the fact of the matter is, this is the racing team. I mean, Matt Booty said it himself there. We need to alleviate the fans' concern that they're going to get this right. Now, this, like I said, is a beloved franchise. This is Playground stepping out of their, what they're magnificent at, and probably one of the best in the world at, but we've never actually seen them do an RPG. We've never seen anything else in the Forza Tech engine. So all these things need to be alleviated, and I think in-game footage will go a long way in that.
Yeah, I definitely think they should show gameplay, and I think they know that too. So if they don't, I think that's a pretty stark, it's sort of a realization for the Xbox community about how far away this game would be if they don't show some sort of vertical slice. But I also look, I'm on the fence a little bit, but I do believe with everything, time frame, the studio, considering the fact they've got to train up new developers when they come in on that Forza Tech engine. I think the back end of 2024. I don't think 2025. I think they're aiming for 2024 with that. It's been quite some time. I think it's very possible we could get it in 2024. I'm not going to say. Yeah, I'm not going to say that. Yeah.
I mean, but going by your theory there, if that is the case, then when you expect to see some type of gameplay at that point, if that's the case.
Yeah, and I would, and that's what I mean. So if we see a CGI sort of breakdown in engine type thing, then I think that we can sort of ascertain from that it's going to be a little while before we get the game. Then you look at 2025, you're possibly looking back end of 2025, 2026. We get gameplay, could be 2024, could be 2025. And again, I think if they don't show the new Fable, that's a massive L. Like massive L. And it sort of would give a stark it sort of shows up Xbox's constant missteps of their marketing if they're like, do a little teaser, glitter, hey, seems important, Xbox showcase, Fable music, and then, hey, it's a Fable collection. No.
I wonder though, like, Chad, what do you all think about that? If they showed that and then we actually get a Fable collection, updone, remastered in Unreal Engine 5 or something like that, or what, maybe they do it in Forza Engine. Let's just say that or whatever, and it looks gorgeous. It's at 60, all of that. Would that be an L still if they don't show the new Fable? I do hear you on that Risk. I'm kind of torn. I'm kind of.
I don't think it's an L. No, I would be happy with a collection.
I think I would.
You already
too, I'll
got
be
Fable
honest.
1, but, and it's sold very, very well. I think that it bodes to, them should doing it because, but how many people are going to play the old Fables if a new one's coming? So I think they need to coincide with each other and they'll survive off the back of each other.
Yeah, I'm with you. But like, what if my thing was they could show both, right? And that would be a major W. And if they do that, they can say, hey, give us a launch window. Fable by Playground will be relaunching in 2025. But in the meantime, in 2024, you'll get this collection. I think that'll be a W.
The reason why I don't think that we're going to see Fable 4 until 2025 is because, like I was saying before, Playground Games have never made a game like this before. They've got to build it from the ground up. They've got to build it on an engine that hasn't been used before. Not only that, they're hiring staff, and they're going to have to train that staff up on the Forza Tech engine, and all that bodes to me. And the amount of money Microsoft is putting into this franchise, it is a staple. I think that they're going to want this to be a platform for Fable going forward, and I think they're going to take their time with it.
Yeah, Epic, you were just sort of about to jump in and say you'd be happy with a collection.
Yeah.
And so they roll up to the show. They've shown this little snippet, this little tease, and they come out with a remastered 60 FPS 4K remastering of, say, 2 and 3, because they've already done 1. And that's enough? You don't think that's a misstep?
Like Donovan said in chat, they just can't pretend 4 doesn't exist if they do a collection. So that's fine. If they show a beautiful collection and then, put Fable coming whatever date, then that's fine. But I do not want to see any more reels and things like that from Fable when it's not necessary, until they've got a little bit more. So yes, they indeed should mention the new Fable coming out, but I'm happy to just have a collection. I don't think that them posting that tweet and it only being about the collection is potentially a problem. A lot of people love it, but I think a lot of people didn't know what that reference was anyway, because it's pretty, old. And I think that the trailer, correct me if I'm wrong, the new trailer for it didn't show those glitter trails. So a lot of people went, what the hell is this? So I think that's, the glitter. I don't know how.
It's because of the fairy head.
Yeah. So I think I think it fell on deaf ears. For a lot of people, just because it's old, and but I'm happy to have a collection, and then just like Donovan said, just have a little mention of, Fable, the Fable 4, which I was corrected before that we can't call it Fable 4, but I do.
I think a lot of people call it Fable 4.
I do, but I got roused on.
No, it's the same with Forza Motorsport 8. It's not actually; they simply call it Motorsport now. So
yeah. But I mean,
it's still say 8.
But you can call it 8 or 4. I don't think that's a problem. So leave it alone. But I would love a collection. That would be awesome. But I want to see the game. So, I think it's definitely an L. You got everyone to the hype levels, and you sort of raise a good point. I've sort of noticed a lot of the community, the guys who are in the sort of younger demographic, they're like, nah, I'm not really super keen. Interested in Fable. I think Fable was just one of those, and someone argued this point with me on Twitter, that it was a pivotal game. What they were trying to do with that game when it launched had never been done before. You didn't have that level of choice before. You didn't have a dynamic world that sort of changed with your choices. It didn't. That's how it was pitched. It didn't really nail it until, I suppose, 2. It did change a little bit, but your character did. Your character was directly affected by the choices that you made. So that had never been done before, and there's a lot of RPG elements within Fable that that again had never been done before. So I believe the game is definitely a pivotal title, and there's a lot of things that have been taken from Fable over the years and reused and still reused today. So I mean, if you are in the younger demographic and you weren't around for the launch of Fable, you never played it, I'm telling you that game was just absolutely like mind blowing for the time. And yeah, like it's my all time top. I'm waiting for game.
I
I
feel a
just
way
had a
about
look
that just
and-
because I feel like it's crazy that Microsoft even allowed a tentpole, what used to be a tentpole franchise, to even fall to the wayside for so long. It's been and Pixel Big G just pointed out it's been 13 years since we had another Fable. Like that's insane.
Well, there's multiple reasons for that, bro. I mean,
I
Peter
know, but
Molyneux
still.
left the studio, and Fable was Peter Molyneux's baby.
I mean, but that's to me. I just don't excuse it because I mean,
And
even
not
if
only,
Peter Molyneux
yeah,
moved
but
on,
it goes
they could have got
further than
somebody
that
else.
because they did the Connect thing and they forced them to make that Connect game, and it pretty much destroyed the franchise. And then when they wanted to bring it back, they wanted to bring it back as
Legends.
with Legends, yeah, which is just not
Yeah.
a single player narrative experience. So this
But that's part of my
franchise has
point.
been hurt
These are all the
significantly.
things I'm pointing out. So like Peter Molyneux leaving doesn't mean that's the end of the franchise, right?
Mhm.
Epic left.
But
we
it
got
was
Gears.
his baby.
I get it, but that doesn't stop it because like Gears was Epic's baby, but now it's clearly not belonging to Epic. Halo was Bungie's baby, but clearly they're not a hold of it anymore. It moves on, and that Microsoft should not have allowed that to stop them from treating that franchise with the respect it deserved, making
Well,
a Connect game out of it, or
They did
moving
close
it
the
to
studio.
Legends.
Yeah, look, it was
They
on
did, but
Metric
that's
Xbox at the
irrelevant
time.
to me. Like you could have outsourced that still. They could have had so many ways to go
Yeah.
about properly handling that franchise to let it go for that long and get nothing from it. And you have, I think, Playground. By the way, they were making a different game, and was it, if I'm not mistaken, was it brought up to them or did they pitch the idea for Fable?
They pitched the idea.
They pitched
So
it. Yeah.
why is it that they had to do that and not Microsoft? Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, I think
There's
that's
no
got to do
reason
with
why that should be happening.
That's got to do with the way that Microsoft sort of handles their studios at the moment, which we've talked about a lot. That it's a bit of a problem, or it's actually a bit of a boon. Depends on the studio, obviously, not when it's Arcane. But we'll talk about the whole Redfall thing as well later on. I didn't have it in the topics, but I do want to bring it up. But they very much let their studios say, hey, we've got an idea, we want to do this, and Microsoft's like, yep, go ahead and do it. So I mean, that is the why of that.
But don't forget, Fable 3 wasn't successful at all as well. Like, so Fable 2 was an amazing game, and Fable 3 just wasn't commercially successful. It wasn't critically successful, and it wasn't liked among the fans.
Yeah,
I
they
didn't like
probably
part
just
three.
got a bit. They probably just got a little bit, scared from not only the I would say probably just generally unsuccessful Fable 3, and then with the major popularity of not only their Forza franchise, but in regards to Xbox itself, Halo, like they've been spending a lot of time, a lot of resources, a lot of people power into those games. Plus, all of the worldly things that have gone on. Like, yeah, I think probably it has gone to the wayside because, number one, games are more, society is more PC, I feel, in the general public. And I think they probably wanted to do the game justice. And a lot of people thought that Fable was becoming untrue to itself in the third one. So maybe they were just waiting for the right moment to bring this game out.
I hear you, but then I think and I only have somebody else to compare, right? We have to look at the competition. You look at Sony, you look at Nintendo especially. Like they don't allow that for their franchises. They don't allow that for their first party titles. No, they treat their first party titles like treasures, and that's why they get so rewarded. That's why people keep coming. The nostalgia is there. You have nostalgia built here with Fable, with these franchises, with Halo, with Gears. You cannot allow your tentpole games to fall to the wayside that way. You just cannot allow it. And Microsoft has allowed that, unfortunately. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
Fable 3 was not in the politically correct time frame, so I think it released 2010. It wasn't really PC back then, so I don't think that's the reason for it. But look, what points really well to your argument, Umbra,
No,
and I
but
think this is the whole problem that Xbox has been having with their franchises, is this was a Don Matrick period where Xbox really almost went out of business, and it was, and so Fable Anniversary released, 2013, 2014, and it was very, very successful successful, and off the back of that, it should have been relaunched sooner. But look, the fact of the matter is Xbox weren't really releasing any games at that point.
Let me say something really quick, because I think whenever you point out with Sony or with Nintendo, you always have somebody, what about Sony allowed all of its shooters and RPGs to die? Which version of revisionist history are we playing now? Pixelbit says. Pixelbit, when was Killzone ever a tentpole title for Sony? Never. Now, you may have heard this whole Halo killer thing that people use. It was never Halo. It was never to that level. It wasn't their tentpole. Their tentpoles have been games from Naughty Dog. Their tentpoles have been games from Sony Santa Monica, or before it was Sony Santa Monica with David Jaffe running God of War. Those have been their tentpoles, and they have treated those with clear respect. There is no argument there. We're not talking about side games that did not live up to what they should have lived up to. And even if we do mention them, they've had enough that did so well where they've catapulted them to make even newer, greater games. Now you have even greater, newer first-party titles for Sony. Sony has clearly run their first-party, repertoire of titles and devs better than Microsoft has over the years.
I don't think anyone can argue against that. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, look, and I think when you're talking about Fable, going back to what you guys are saying, going back to what Cutie was saying, with Fable 3, that game was developed in about 18 months or like 2 years, if I off the top of my head can remember. It felt rushed. It wasn't feature complete. It had some weird Kinect stuff in it because that was the time when Kinect was coming out, I think. And then
there was the one after Fable 3.
Yeah, no, it actually had some Kinect stuff in it. There in Fable 3, I don't know if you remember, but there was things that you could do. It was just like surface stuff, but it wasn't anything like game changing. And I sort of feel like, and I haven't seen anything from Molyneux. Actually, probably won't look this up later on. I sort of feel like they rushed that out to get that Kinect version happening for the next one that failed. But
did Molyneux have anything to do with Fable 3 Risk?
Yeah, he did. He was still at the studio. After 3, after 2, I think that studio sort of started to take a dive, and I think it was because Microsoft is reaching into the studio, considering it was a tentpole title. It's like, hey, this is the direction Xbox is going. We need you to pitch the direction Xbox is going. This is what we're doing. We need you to do something with this tech. I mean, that's well documented, and it just crushed the studio, crushed the franchise, and Infinite. I think that Fable's one of those sort of special. I agree, it should have been treated with a lot more care, but nothing was treated with care back in the day with Don Matrick.
I have a question again because I see Pixelbit still continuing on with this nonsense of a revisionist history. Pixelbit, what's God of War 4, everybody? What was God of War 4?
It was.
Look, man, everyone's going to have their.
Hold on, Pete. No, let's not shift. What was God of War 4? God of War 4 was 2018. That did not fail. Pixelbit. You're talking about some PSP title, I think. That wasn't God of War 4.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If the main titles of God of War games have done well, Sony and typically have run their first party titles well. It is okay to acknowledge that. Everybody always has this, oh, you can't acknowledge Sony, but Sony did this. Sony makes missteps. They have mistakes. Nobody's saying that they're perfect. But I'm saying when it comes to their tentpole titles, typically they don't fall that way. That's just the way it is. All of this Sony, this or that, it's just a fact.
Typically, now, it's true, but like at the moment we are.
Get real
look, absolutely, but we're not going to dive into.
What it is.
We're not going to massively dive into that. Typically, they do look after their tentpole titles. We'll see what happens going forward in the future because that showcase was a little bit interesting. But yeah, we're definitely going to jump into the next topic. Umbra, I completely agree with you. Like PlayStation has done a fantastic job of looking after their tentpole titles, and Xbox hasn't done a great job of it. Pixelbit, that's just 100% true. It's unfortunate. The reasons for, are not the reasons that they shouldn't be something that affects Xbox now. I mean, basically, Don Matrick, the way that Xbox was treated as an outsider, it wasn't something that was considered seriously within Microsoft proper. So, yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting. I think the showcase is sort of going to pitch it. I do want to move into more of the showcase talk, jump off Fable, and more into what we think we're going to see, because we spent a lot of time on Fable then. A lot of time. But before we do, I just want to call out some of these super chats, call out some of these questions. But guys, before I do, please like button, share us out, subscribe if you're new. Go live 8 p.m. EST every Friday. Why so serious with the $5 super chat? What's up, guys? If they show Playgrounds Fable and then shadow drop the collection, eyes emoji. Yeah, that would be absolute. That would be like God tier stuff. That would be PlayStation
For
tier
sure.
stuff. Yeah, if they do that, that would be awesome. Hey, here's the collection. And then here's a collection early 2024, mid 2024, and here is the new game in 2025. I think that's fine. That would buy them time as well. Be interesting to see who they've actually got doing the collection if they do a collection. AJH with the question, guys. If you don't want to super chat, that's absolutely fine. You can type question in front of your question. I will highlight it and read it out to in the show. So you feel free to just type question in front of your thing, Pixelbit, unless you're taking a shot at Umbra. AJH question. The question is, would they take the time to make Fable teas or just a Fable collection? Yeah, well, again, that goes back to the studio, doesn't it, really? What studios they're using, and if they use they would outsource that. That wouldn't be Playground Games, I don't believe. Drawn TJ with the $5 super chat says, hi, guys, we need to see gameplay for State of Decay 3. You've been harping on this, TJ, for a while, actually. I wouldn't mind seeing it. I just don't think it's going to happen. Everyone, please hit the like. Thank you, TJ, for the $5 super chat. You're an absolute champion. Thimba with a question. Thimba's fantastic. He's been dropping topics and news in the in my Discord for quite some time now. Thimba, really appreciate that. He's got a question here. He says, so why you guys don't believe the new Fable will be shown at the Xbox showcase? Isn't that what you guys always ask from Xbox? Yeah, Thimba, it's not that we don't. Some of us don't, and some of us do. But why don't we believe it? Because Xbox does these things. Xbox makes these missteps. They really do. It's annoying, but it's a fact. They'll tease something, or they'll drop something on social media, and it's not what you think it is. It's not the hype level it creates. I sometimes don't think they think these things through, of like, what could this be misconstrued as that's above what we're offering? And you sort of need to, I think, on social media do that, because things can very quickly get out of control. So listen, what do we think we're going to see? This is my question to the panel and to our guest, Epic, and I'll go to you first. What do you think we're going to see? What are you excited to see? And what gameplay do we think we're going to see from what games? I will go first, though. I personally believe that we're going to see Hellblade. That's 110%. If any one of you guys says Motorsport or Starfield, we've already seen gameplay of that. So that's wipe that off the board. We know we're going to see that, and especially with the Starfield Direct. And I think we're going to see Hellblade. I think we're going to see some gameplay from Avowed. I would like to see Contraband. I just don't think it's going to happen. I think, again, that's another logo reveal. I think a CGI trailer would be absolutely fine for that. I think we'll see Hollow Knight Silksong. And here's my prediction for a shadow drop. I think, God, I hope. I think they're going to shadow drop Age of Empires 4. I think that game is ready to go, and I think they will say playable now. So that's sort of my predictions. There's obviously a lot more games, but I don't want to take up too much time because I want to hear from the guests in the panel. Epic, what do you think we're going to see? What do you want to see? What gameplay? Go ahead.
It's so wild. It's like you've read off my list exactly. But I was hoping that the show opener will be Hellblade 2, because you know that beautiful atmospheric band Hylong, who did all of the music for the first one, and just the epicness of Hellblade 2 would just be a great way to start it. 90% I think that should open the whole showcase, so I expect to see that first. Could be Avowed. I think it's risky for them to show something that's brand new, because if you remember the last showcase, they opened with Redfall. So I don't think they're going to put anything risky at the start. So I'm sort of going for a safe place. So Hellblade for me is that one. I think we'll see the Project Midnight, the compulsion games. One there, I know that I think it was in its alpha stage already, that one that they did, what is it, We Happy Few, is it? And I think we'll see Avowed. I'm a bit funny about Avowed for some reason, but still that's on my list of what I expect to see. I want to really see Gears Collection so bad. I just installed recently the originals, and I thought, no, don't play. Just wait and see what happens. Because I love Gears. I would be happy even to see just a Gears 6 teaser. It only has to be 5 seconds. Just show me the logo. I don't care. Just a little tiny tease, and that's it. You know, just show it. That's it. But I've got a whole list. I agree with you regarding Hollow Knight and Age of Empires 4 on console. Shadow Drop, I believe that. I think there's going to be another Shadow Drop too. I'm not certain what it is, but I've got a whole Excel sheet happening right now where I'm sort of going through all the showcases and trying to find how they, the sort of patterns in it, if you will. So I think at the start of the showcase, we'll see, bang, bang, world premiere, bang, exclusive to console, bang, all that sort of stuff. And I think we'll see Phil early in it mention, obviously Game Pass, but the family Game Pass aspect of it. And I think that's going to be maybe 5th. I'm not sure. I know I'm getting pretty, distinct with these things, but I like to do that. I think it's fun. So that's mine. My fantasy release is just a little Gears 6 trailer. I've already got my Dragon's Dogma. I don't care. I'm happy. So that's mine.
Yeah, play it first on Xbox, right? And the other, there's a couple other ones that I want to throw out there as names, and Cudio, I definitely want to go to you and see what you're hoping for, what you think we'll see gameplay, what you think we'll see. Well, I think we'll definitely see Liza P gameplay as well. I would really like to hear from Eidos. Oh no, it's not Eidos anymore. My bad. IO. I'd love to hear from IO and see what they've got cooking. Dragon. Yeah, they've got Project Dragon. I'd love to hear from NXile as well. Yep, absolutely right, Epic. So yeah, there's quite a few there. Cutie, what do you think we're going to see gameplay-wise? Do you think that we're going to see, like, for instance, NXile's new game, boom, steampunk first-person shooter, and here's some gameplay. What do you think we're going to see at the show?
I think probably they're going to want to start strong, and I definitely am on board with Epic Treasures opening with Hellblade 2. It's a fantastic imagery, fantastic sound within the game. So I think, that'll definitely be amazing. Look, we haven't heard from Obsidian about Avowed since the 2021 Xbox Game Showcase. So if they don't show it, it will be an L. I really, really do believe that. Considering, they had job listings and all of that for the team. So we're definitely going to see that. And if we do, that would be amazing. I don't know, definitely stuff about Game Pass, definitely about Gears. The thought of a Gears 6 logo, yes. I think that would get fans very riled up. Yeah, and all the other stuff that I mentioned before, obviously Starfield, obviously Forza Motorsport. There's probably going to be some really interesting Game Pass games that they're going to show, which I probably don't know anything about and no one knows anything about. Maybe I reckon some Indiana Jones is going to be in there. Do you guys think it's Yeah, I think it's definitely going to be there. Maybe they'll finish it. Maybe they'll finish on Indiana Jones. So start with Hellblade 2 and finish on Indy.
Gameplay or CGI? What do you think for Indy?
Oh, it's got to be gameplay. Definitely. Hopefully both. I do like both. So yeah. Either way, people like Indiana Jones and I said this before. I tweeted this out recently. Coming off the back of when the movie comes out, the new movie, I think it would be smart to sort of combine those two. So definitely need some Indiana Jones in there.
Oh, absolutely. And apparently that new indie movie is absolutely amazing. Got a standing ovation at the first showing.
Really?
So yeah, that's one that I'm definitely looking forward to. Pete, I know you're looking forward to it. What else do you think you're going to see, Pete, at the...
Such an idiot, mate.
Pete, what else do you think you're going to see at the Xbox Showcase? What are your hopes?
Thank goodness for the video game of Indiana Jones, because Dial of Destiny is going to be one big flop, and I hope it flops because that means we remove Kathleen Kennedy. But anyway, I won't go into that. I think everyone knows my feelings on that. Look, going off what Epic said, I think you need a big IP to start off the show. And I would love that to be Hellblade, but we've already seen gameplay for Hellblade, and I really think they're going to kick off the show with the biggest IP they have being Indiana Jones. That coinciding with the release of the movie coming out very, very soon, I think could be really good things. And it's Machine Games, they've been quiet for a long time now, and I think hopefully they do the franchise justice because I don't think that's being done on the movie side of things. Then I think we will see Contraband. I think we'll see more of Replaced. And I know Replaced is based in Ukraine, but I still think we need to see a little bit more of it. You know, maybe hopefully get a release date or at least find out what's going on with it. Contraband, I think we might actually see gameplay from that. I'm looking forward to it. I like that team. I think they did a pretty good job with Mad Max, and the game seems really interesting to me. So I want to learn more. Avowed. Now, I don't know if they're gonna. I think they might close the show with Avowed gameplay. Depending on what the game actually looks like, I think we might actually close the show with it. That would be really, really cool for me. Big RPG, Obsidian, finally getting the money that they deserve. They're such a great development team, and they've deserved the game like Avowed for a while. The Pillars of Eternity universe is an awesome universe to be in. I'm a little bit unsure about the first-person aspect. I would have preferred if they went the third-person route, but I think it will be there, and I think it will show up good. I think we'll see a little bit about Perfect Dark, because there's been so much controversy about that game. I think they're going to try and alleviate some of that controversy by showing a little bit more. Now, I don't think it'll be gameplay. Crystal Dynamics are working on this game now, and they've worked under this leader before. He used to be the ex-head of Crystal Dynamics, and I think that they work well as a team, and I think that they might be a little bit more advanced than people think. I think we'll see Silksong, like I said, Risk. I don't think you guys have mentioned it, but Arc 2, I think we'll see a little bit more of that. We haven't heard about that for a while. Really looking forward to that game. Lies of P, also, I think we'll get to see a little bit more of that. State of Decay. I hope we get State of Decay, but I'm unsure about it. I don't know. And I'm going to throw one out there. I'm going to throw a curveball out there. Maybe it's more out of hope than anything else, but I hope we get something about Elder Scrolls 6. I know they're releasing Starfield. I get the arguments against it. I get it.
Pete, no, I think you're right. I will definitely support you on that. Yeah, for real.
The logo for it already, cutie. I think that was all the way back in 2019. So it has been a while. Maybe 2020.
I mean, the guy,
if not,
the dude said it was literally. I mean, I think it was Todd Howard himself who said it was literally like anywhere from 7 to 10 years out. I don't
really. Where?
I don't think you're going to get that.
Where did he say that?
He said it.
If it's not about Elder Scrolls 6, it'll be about their upcoming expansions. Because honestly, that community is massive, and they're so lovely, so great. I know you guys aren't 100% in there, but yeah, definitely. I like.
Yeah,
that.
they released a trailer to, I think it's NACOM or something. I don't know. I don't really keep up with Elder Scrolls Online, but they did release that trailer already. A couple of weeks ago. So that bodes to the fact that they won't show too much of Elder Scrolls Online. I hope they don't. I hope they don't have that filler where they show Fallout 76 and Elder Scrolls Online and Sea of Thieves. I don't want to see that at all. I just don't want to see it. I want to see new, exciting things. I think we'll get a big Game Pass announcement. That'll most likely be the family plan. And I think that will be a really big moment for Xbox as well. I think we'll get a Shadow Drop. That Shadow Drop is, I don't know. I mean, it'd be really cool if it was something like Lies of P. And we're definitely going to get some third-party deals that are going to be on Game Pass as well.
Well, on your Shadow Drop, I'll just add to that as well. Just remember, and guys, I know everyone's saying Stalker 2 in the chat. Absolutely, we haven't forgotten Stalker 2, but I do tend to give that sort of a lot more leeway insofar as time to release, just based on the political environment around that, and obviously the war in the Ukraine, and I mean they've even lost some of their developers to that war. So yeah, I think I do give that a what. I won't think anything of it if Stalker 2 is not there. If it is there, that's fantastic. But also
Well,
don't
they're
forget
based in Prague now.
Don't forget about shadow dropping. There was Hi-Fi Rush has actually been sort of caught up in a DLC thing. So they might shadow drop some Hi-Fi Rush DLC. The achievements dropped on Steam. Someone discovered them. So we pretty much know 100% that there will be a DLC for Hi-Fi Rush. And, maybe they'll shadow drop that. What was the other one? Arc 2's been delayed, Pete, so I don't think that we'll see that one, personally. And I don't want to see it, ever. It was a very weird trailer, and I'm not a big fan of Arc 2. Arc 1. Infinite! So I'm going to have to push back on that one. Yeah.
There are a lot of people that love the Ark franchise, and so I disagree, bro. I thought you were going to use the no, Pete, no.
Oh, yeah, that would have been better, mate. My bad.
No! This one sucks. I like the first one better.
Infinite Umbra. Look, what are your thoughts on what we're going to see at the showcase? What do you think we'll see gameplay of? What are you hoping to see? What showcase has got you excited? When we talk about showcase, we don't say the showcase. Apparently, that's something that Phil Spencer sort of set the standard on.
I don't know why they kept saying yes at showcase. I didn't understand that.
It's weird.
Why was it saying it like that?
So yeah, what are your thoughts?
I have to pause because of a dang ambulance in the back. Anyway, for the showcase, as far as what I expect to see for Xbox, you're talking about, right?
Yeah, I expect to see for Xbox. I mean, even talking around their exclusives that they've got sort of banked up there as well. I mean, Stalker 2 and stuff like that. They're not Xbox first party, but they are exclusive. So yeah. I mean, Flintlock. I think we'll see that. I know you're excited about that.
Yeah, that was one of my top 3 from last year, if you remember. But if what I expect to see from Xbox is the same thing I expect to see from Sony, tentpole games, and there has been discussion around that, and I think many people don't know what a tentpole game is or tentpole anything. So I'm going to read the definition really quick. A tentpole is a program or film, right? So I'm going to use that as the same example of a game that supports the financial performance of a studio. It is a way of saying it's a strong central pole that provides a stable structure to it, right? So when you think of things like that, then that means we have to see central things. That means we have to see something like Halo. We'd have to see something like Forza. We'd have to see something like, I would say Hellblade too, but it's not really a central
Halo
thing.
Forza Gears.
It's typically going to be Halo Forza Gears. He's right. That's typically what those are, because those are major money makers, and they are what make Xbox what it is, right? When you think of Xbox, those are the first 3 to come to mind. So those are the tent poles. I expect to see that. I think we'll see Halo Season 4. I don't want to say tease, but because it's launching I believe it launches this month, right?
Well, it could be
so it launches just a little bit after the showcase, actually. I think a couple of days after it. So I think we'll see that as well, bro.
Could be a battle royale, Umbra.
I think we'll get that, but I think
Malicious Munch. Malicious Munch said he might shadow drop the BR. I doubt that, brother. I doubt it's ready, but I hope so.
I kind of think it's ready. I think that could be the shadow drop. Actually, I actually agree with him on that one, because at this point, I mean, they were already teasing that it could have been, well, not they, but people behind the scenes were teasing that they had been working on it for a while. So that makes some sense. Who knows, right? But I think it would coincide and make sense to have it happen where you got Season 4 about to drop too. So imagine all that content right there at one time. That would be a major boost for Halo Infinite. So I expect to see Halo there. I expect to see Forza. That's a given, right? I think they'll obviously announce the launch date. I'm still kind of torn, though. I still kind of feel like Forza might be delayed until next year. But then again, I think you all kind of won me over, some who were saying, but it wouldn't make sense for that to happen and then Hellblade. So I don't know. I'm kind of torn still.
I'll have your knees for that, Umbra.
Hey, let me stop before I go any. Hellblade 2, I still feel like could launch this year, so it could hit December. But then a lot of people pointed out, well, then it could launch in February. So that makes sense to kind of stretch them out. And they did point out they wanted to stretch them out. So that makes sense too. I don't know for sure. I think, and if you all looked at past showcases, they typically launch with a first party title to start the show. So my thinking would be maybe they'll start with something strong. At least I would hope they would start with something strong. Maybe they'll start with Hellblade 2 to start the show. We know it won't be Starfield, obviously, since they're on their own thing after the case. I think we'll get some announcements, obviously, like we'll see what Machine Games has been doing. I'll be highly surprised if they don't showcase Indiana Jones or something like that, or at least allude to it or something like that. Maybe they might announce Wolfenstein 3. That could be a thing.
Nah.
I think they're working on both Wolfenstein 3 and Indiana Jones at the same time. And we were having this conversation with Hargeet and Zorka, and I just don't know.
Yeah, I feel like it could be incubation, to be fair. So maybe not, but maybe they could announce. I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know how far along they can do it. Actually, how many people, I wonder, do they have on their team, too, now that I'm thinking about it?
I think Machine Games only got around the 200 mark. I don't think they can work on 2 franchises at once.
You know what, guys?
They absolutely could with that many.
Regardless, number one, I've got honestly consistent goosebumps and chills like talking about this. Like and I can imagine anyone who's going to, the watch party or is, going to be watching it live themselves, hosting a stream, whatever. I think this is going to be an absolutely incredible showcase, and we're going to eat. We're going to be feasting on games. It's going to be incredible.
Also, too, thank you for that. That advertisement was brought to you by Game Pass from Cutie. Where did that come from out of nowhere? It's like, hey guys, just want you to know.
No, I'm sorry. Like every time we have this conversation, like I'm so excited.
I'm so excited.
Riskit.
Just press
178 people are employed at Machine Games, brother.
Yeah, that sounds like enough where they can do both, I think, right? They can split off a good maybe 50 people to go and work on that while they're doing that, I think. I don't know.
Yeah.
But either way it goes, maybe I think maybe Indiana Jones. And Indiana Jones would make sense because the movie is releasing soon.
Mm-hmm.
So I can see that. Fable has to be there, so I expect Fable to be there. I wonder how they would do it. Maybe that could be well, you know what? I wouldn't want it to be the one last thing. I would want something brand new to be the one last thing.
No, I would love that. I would love, because they've dropped that little teaser on
one last thing. Yeah.
And then they could this damn footage
wait, no,
again. But if they
did do it for Redfall, they did do that. Remember?
Yeah, but if you go through the whole show and everyone's like, "Oh, Xbox, no, you haven't done it again. Oh no," and then they get to the end of the show and they're like, Fable gameplay. That would be awesome. That show me.
Yeah, but if people are saying, "Oh, Xbox," at that point, by the end of the show, and only Fable would turn them around, I would think that would be a pretty poor show. So I'm hoping.
I just want to hit on something Epic Treasure pointed out. ZeniMax MMO, Epic. What is it?
Was ZeniMax what they're making? Hopefully, it's the rumored Star Wars Mandalorian game. I would hope.
Epic?
I would hope it would.
I don't know
please!
You'd love that, would you?
Oh, please! I would. I'd play that all day, Mando. Let's go.
So what ZeniMax
World of Star Wars?
What ZeniMax MMO were you thinking of, Epic?
I'm not sure exactly what it was in detail, but I know that there was an MMO from ZeniMax that was to be released, but there's like very limited details about what that was actually going to be. I know it exists, but I don't know what it actually is. So maybe Umbra is spot on with that. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm. What would you hope it to be then?
I don't actually have any hopes. That's just my prediction for what is unknown that will be released, because everything that we've got in a list is something that we've already talked about in the past years. So I'm looking at things that are sort of whispers or slight mentions. And
Umbra, you'll be happy to know that is rumored to be built in Unreal Engine. Just saying.
Yes, sounds great to me. You know, somebody mentioned, by the way, Lord of the Rings that was teased. I don't know if Sarah Bunn first brought that up or if it was somebody else. Then she jumped into it and I think Colt photoshopped her into it. I don't know how that worked, but if it happens to be either Lord of the Rings or Star Wars in some capacity, that is a major W. There is no question about it. I will take
She
either
asked the
one.
question, who's your favorite character in Lord of the Rings, and she said hers was Legolas. So I think that's how it all started.
Ah, okay, that's how it started. Okay,
Yeah, you're right.
I remember
Pete.
Colt doing the Photoshop thing with them all in there, and that was funny. But
It-
yeah,
it-
I mean, that would be
it
dope,
could be
man.
true. I mean,
It could
Amazon
be.
had the Lord of the Rings show, so I mean, Mandalorian. We know that Star Wars also shopping around the IP to people.
Mhm.
I
I
mean,
think
either
we're being
or,
really
you'll be happy.
hopeful. I think we're
Yeah,
really like
of
I
course.
would love a Mandalorian
Oh.
MMO. But I don't think if it is in the works, I don't think we'll see it.
Oh, it's been
But,
reported. It's been
Astral
reported
Frost
to
just
be in
made a
the-
good point.
It's been reported to be
Astral
in the
just
works.
pointed out that
Cutie.
the
Yeah,
Amazon
no,
is
I
actually
just
making
don't-
the Lord of the Rings MMO.
I don't think it's licensed. Is what I'm saying. This particular ZeniMax release, I don't think it's licensed.
Yeah,
for
who were they?
videos.
Who were they saying had a Mandalorian? There was a rumor that Xbox was working
The
on.
rumor was ZeniMax. That's
It
what-
was
that
It was
the rumor. It's
Coalition.
always
I
been.
thought it was the
Nah.
Coalition. I don't know if that was more
I
wishful
thought it was-
thinking, but
I could have sworn
No.
it was ZeniMax all along. But Astral Frost in the chat says that Amazon is actually making the Lord of the Rings MMO. So I guess that dream is dashed.
yeah. I mean, they've sort of joined forces across a few things with the Mandalorian, with controllers, with Xbox consoles, specialty things. So
Do you know
Yeah, I
how?
think
Do you
you
know how
got,
much that
us.
Mandalorian Xbox controller costs? It
How
was
much?
it was absolutely limited edition to one event, and it's going for 600, 800 Australian dollars. It is insanely. It's so gosh dang cute. It's so cute.
You
It's
like
a
all
little
the control. All the
jacket.
controllers are cute to you.
No, but
Hey,
this is a Grogu one. This is
Oh, now
top
I'm
tier.
interested now. Actually,
This
I
is
want that
top
too
tier.
now. I like Grogu. But so listen, by the way, Astro, you're absolutely correct. I looked it up to be sure. Amazon Games announces that it will make the new Lord of the Rings MMO game. So yeah, they are making that. That is certain. But I'm pretty sure though, Pete, that it was ZeniMax that was the one rumored to be making the Star Wars game or something like, or at least alluded to them being them, I believe, making it.
That would be
Yeah.
cool, man. I'd absolutely love that. And it does both, like, I mean, we know that Lucasfilm was shopping out the Star Wars IP. I mean, that's why we got Coda. That's why we got Eclipse. That's why we got the Ubisoft MMO or whatever it is. So, yeah, it definitely could be. I would love that. I would have preferred if the Coalition made it. I think that would have been awesome. But I can live with
Yeah?
the Star Wars MMO.
Hey, a Mandalorian game where it's focused on Mando by the Coalition, absolutely, that would have been dope.
yeah, but the leak came from Scalzi, and it was being developed by ZeniMax Online Studios. So yeah, absolutely true.
See,
that
and
was the rumor.
Scalzi is on the money at times too when it comes to a lot of this. So
Yeah, especially when it
could
comes to
be.
Bethesda. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
He does have a direct line into Bethesda, and he has been right multiple times about Bethesda. So it'd be
Yeah.
very, very interesting.
Yeah, I'm actually trying to bring Scalzi through for the podcast soon.
Mhm.
By the way, speaking of that, but
Yeah. HAH
I-
just said that Sarah Bonds made 2 related Lord of the Rings tweets in the coming months, and she's also responded to a couple that Colt made. So,
yeah,
look, I don't know how
I
much
saw
that
it.
means, to be honest.
I don't either. That's my thing. And I mean, HAH also pointed out that it could that just because they're making an MMO doesn't mean that Xbox couldn't make one. Yeah, true. But I just think the likelihood of that is kind of slim to none when they're making an MMO and also, they're making Lord of the Rings too. I think it would make more sense to be the ever expanding gigantic lore that is Star Wars. Not to say that Lord of the Rings is not gigantic too in that sense, but I think Star Wars is just particularly more current as far as what people would want to see versus Lord of the Rings. You know what? I don't know. I'll take that back.
I don't know about
I
that.
don't
Yeah,
know
I think
either.
you're dipping
I'll take
yeah.
it back.
You're dipping
I'll
your
take
foot
it
in
back.
some waters there.
Yeah, I had to
with
take
the
it back. I'll take you back, Caesar.
With the absolute dumpster fire that the Gollum game release was. If you've not seen that, the
It
Daily
looked terrible.
Entertainment has done that franchise dirty, and I'm so disappointed with how they've represented Gollum in their game. So I think if there is something Lord of the Rings, it'll definitely be a W just to see something that is going to give this franchise justice to in gaming, because
Well, I hear Toxic Cutie making a comeback. Wow, everyone, Toxic Cutie hashtag.
I'm sorry, I'm not the only one who thinks this. It is. They even issued a public apology to players of the game.
Yeah,
So
it was horrible. It was horrible.
Just to kind of round out my list, because I kind of was all over the place. So for me, if they, we already expect Avowed. So Avowed, I expect to be there. Hellblade 2, we all expect. Forza Motorsport is a given. Fable to me is a given. I think it's going to be there. Contraband, I think is a given. We expect to be there.
Hang on, are you saying given with the V or gibbon?
A gibbon.
A gibbon?
A given. Given with a V. Yeah, so just my vernacular.
Not gibbon.
No.
Okay.
Given.
Given. Okay, cool. My bad.
It's giving toxic cutie. Compulsion. I would hope that the Compulsion or In Exile announces there, maybe both, if they would announce what they're working on, because we've already heard the rumors and what it is that they're making. So I would hope that is actually showcased. That would be pretty cool. Man, that's really it for me. I think as long as they have actual gameplay for most of these and some launch dates or windows, is already going to stomp, Sony's showcase. So that's what all I hope for, is that it's just a really, really good showcase. And they just can't drop the ball here. I think they have an opportunity here to kind of take, because we look at how they, for instance, you go back to the VGAs. That right there was a momentum grabber for Xbox when they showcased and launched announced the Series X, and they showed Hellblade the way they did. That trailer still resonates right now. Still one of the best announcement trailers that any game has had so far, and that shifted the momentum heavy for Xbox to put them back in favor for a lot of people. I think right here, this could also be one of those moments. Just, grab that bull by the horns, as they would say, and really go for it. Don't half-ass the show. Don't give us some of it. You know what I mean?
I agree, brother. Time to put their foot on their throats, bro, and push home their advantage.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm sure in the boardroom, if they were all watching that, they were cheering when the PlayStation showcase finished. They would love that. I would have been like, yes,
yes,
we got this. Cancel the show. We're just going to turn up with Starfield, and that'll be it. That's all we need.
By the way,
yeah,
often, I'm sorry, P. I was going to say it
right,
to say this. Often is rumored that or at least hoped, that if they got some type of third-party marketing deal with something like GTA, yeah, that would be pretty major too. By the way, just want to throw that out there, of course. So I agree with you all that say that, but I think it's probably far-fetched, but it's not. It's improbable, not impossible. Let's say that if they did something major with them to get something exclusive from GTA out of it,
that would be good. But I doubt it.
Going over we had this conversation, didn't we, Riskit? After the showcase with Zorka, Hagi, I think Colt, Boba. I've had a chat with a lot of people, and they want them to even revise the showcase they had planned and put even more there, to put even more pressure on Sony. I mean, now is the time. Sony are on their knees, and they need to drive that, that momentum forward.
They really are on their knees. Absolutely. And I've seen a couple of memes on Twitter that also show that their fans are on their knees. But
stop saying memes.
They are memes.
They're not memes. It's not mem.
There's no I.
What's a meme?
Or extra
He's
E.
saying he's saying meme.
Oh, wait. Are you call memes memes?
It's a meme.
Risk.
It's not.
You really call it that? You don't
what about theme? Okay, what about theme?
It's grammatically correct to call it a meme.
What about theme?
There's no I.
What about theme?
Or E next to the vowel to give it that sound. So yeah. What about theme?
But what about theme?
Yeah, it's just an anomaly. Moving on.
Hearing that, Riskit likely calls GIFs.
GIFs.
No, I call them GIFs.
Oh,
I call them GIFs. Anyway.
Memes.
I don't remember asking you a goddamn thing.
Look, moving on to the.
Pressed it twice. You pressed it twice. That's a W. That's an L for you. It's a W for me. Sorry.
I pressed it once. Anyway, moving on to the next topic. Before we do, please hit the like button, share us out. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button. We go live 8 p.m. EST every Friday. Yeah, definitely don't say serve. I definitely don't say GIF. I hate that stuff. But it's a meme. Suck it. So look, we'll move on to a topic that's probably not a favorite of Epics or Cuties or anyone else on the panel but mine. I love this shit, so whatever. The CMA and the CAT Microsoft hearing, you've probably heard a heap about this. We won't stay on this too long, not as long as the Xbox showcase, but absolutely solid. Now, look, these are my takeaways. I did write them down as my key takeaways. The CMA were hard pushing for a later date of the hearing, trying to push past the FTC's proposed date for the beginning of their trial, their in-house trial. I don't know what you would call it, in-house hearing. And I believe that was to give the FTC an advantage so that the CMA could then take that advantage if the FTC got their win and win their case. I think it was a back and forth thing. I think they are colluding. I really do believe that. There's also a probe investigating the FTC now as well. So there's a lot going on with the FTC. They've also just changed the rules around hearings for tech companies. They've literally...
Wow, did everyone hear that?
Yeah.
I think there was a collective sigh among the whole chat.
Yeah.
ABK.
I don't care.
I thought
And
you were talking about the memes again.
that's one of the memes. I mean, the takeaways from the other, my other main takeaways here was that now this didn't need to come up. This is just basically a hearing about how they were going to proceed. dates, times, what evidence would be admissible. What evidence they would be proposing to see if it was admissible. We're not even at that point where we're admitting evidence yet. And the judge was completely not convinced that there even is a cloud market, and he wanted that to be defined. And he pointed that out to the CMAs. You're going to need to bring something that defines this for me because I don't understand how you've reached this conclusion. He also then told them that their experts would be the ones delivering that information because they weren't allowed to bring in outside experts. And if you've been hearing this is from, I got this from Pete. I haven't actually looked this up, but I got Pete was saying earlier in the week that their own experts don't agree with the definition that the CMA eventually used. So that's going to be very interesting. He also didn't agree on surface that the definition of cloud gamers was completely correct. They've encompassed everyone who has access to cloud as a cloud gamer. That's incorrect. It's just completely wrong. That's saying that every Game Pass user is a cloud gamer, and that's just wrong. It's not true. Most, I would argue it. Let's be fair to the CMA. Let's argue 70% of gamers that have access to cloud don't use it. So with those two things,
very generous, bro.
Yeah, it is very generous. With those two, even with that drops their cloud. That drops the amount of gamers to a ridiculous amount. That's not prosecutable. And it would collapse their case if they can pull not both. Either one of those 2 points, if they can prove the definition wrong of cloud gamers, or the fact that the CMA has completely defined cloud gaming as a separate market, if they can collapse either of those 2 points, they will collapse the CMA's case, and the CMA can then not use that in their regulatory process, and they have already pulled everything else back. So they have admitted. In their statement about blocking the deal because of the cloud, that nothing else is a problem here. And so if those two things are collapses the case, the deal goes through 110%. Look, I do believe this is just based on the overall feeling from what I've been seeing. I believe that the CAT will overrule. Normally they will send the case back to the CMA. The CMA will have to go through the process again. But I think in this case that the CAT will overrule. And the deal will go through. Pete, I'm going to go to you because we've had a lot of conversations about this during the week. And then we'll move to the rest of the panel.
Yeah, so we actually stayed up and watched the CAT hearing live, and it was really engrossing TV. And the judge, I thought, brought out some really, really good points, and he seemed to be very much on the side of Microsoft. So there was a couple of main points for me. The CMA judge really wanted to push back the timing of this hearing. He wanted it sometime in, I think, September. The judge pushed back against that. I think the hearing's sometime on 24th of June.
Yep.
There was another big thing where he didn't, like you said, Riskit, he didn't agree with their definition of cloud gaming. That is massive. If that gets shot down, that's basically Sony's argument done then and there. And I think that's going to be a big thing. So look out for the CMC, which is going to come up with all the definitions of what cloud gaming is. And I think that hearing is on the, I can't remember. I think it's around the 16th of June. So that will be really important for Microsoft and will make what happens going forward will have a massive effect on that. I felt that the CMA lawyer I know he'd only been there for a day, but if you read the body language in the room, he was crossed arms the whole time, rubbing his hands through his hair. He just didn't seem to have any confidence in the case whatsoever. And I going back to your point again, Riskit, I think the FTC and the CMA were colluding and they wanted to push back this case as far as possible so either of them could have used their case as a precedent for why this deal should be blocked. I also saw this thing, I think it was on CBS News, where the Microsoft lawyer has said that he constantly wants to make solutions to the problems, whereas the CMA look to be causing problems from solutions. Now, that's not the job of the CMA. It's not the job of the FTC. Their job is to protect the consumer and come up with ways around if there are problems. And that doesn't seem to be what they're doing at the moment. So I agree. I think Cat will overturn the case. I think the deal will go through. And I also think that Microsoft might even push the deal through after the FTC case is heard. So look, all this to be done and us to not talk about it one way or the other by the end of July.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will still be talking about it afterwards because we have a ridiculous amount of games in Game Pass. Umbra,
before we go anywhere, Riskit, before you ask your question, I just want to point out that Riskit put up a deceptive poll, and some of you all are falling for it, pressing yes. So please read what the nonsense he wrote carefully and don't give in to him. And because Calorie made a great point, I think Riskit should highlight it. Theme, cream, scheme, supreme, extreme. You see the rapper. Find a single word that ends in "eem" that sounds like M.
Oh no, he can't. You can't fight logic with Riskit's logic, apparently.
Yeah, Riskit. Just wanted to highlight that. I thought that was
Riskit. You know, I'm like a teacher, right?
Because they start with a consonant and there's not a vowel to the left.
Oh Lord, not this again.
And
that is okay.
You know we had this debate before.
It's definitely
I'm not even going to get into that nonsense.
Definitely.
I'm sorry. Let's get back to the nonsense that is the
Emotional, damn it.
Yeah.
Infinite. What are your thoughts on that? Look, when it comes to this CMA thing, there was a lot to sort of run through there, and I don't want to stick on it too long either, because I know that there's a lot of people in the audience that are probably very, very sick and tired of the whole thing. And Kirio will jump to you as well. But Umbra, it's. I mean, look, this seems like a really easy beat to me, just based on. And as well, a lot of people don't know that judge that sat on that hearing, his sort of speciality is tech, so he does have some decent knowledge of the tech industry. They brought in 2 other judges. I haven't had a chance to look into those. There will be there's 3 judges that will sit on the case. But based on the judge's demeanor, the questions he asked, the definitions he requested, it really seems like this is an easy beat. And there were even points where the lawyer right of Mr. Beard, I believe is the lawyer for Microsoft, and the lawyers behind were like, when the judge was asking questions, they were just smiling like, "Oh, we got this." So it was pretty interesting to watch.
The second lawyer is actually an economics lawyer. The second judge is going to be an speciality is economics. If anything, that's going to bolster the argument because, I mean, let's face it, this does not look good for the UK. It looks like they're closed for business.
Yeah, the second is an economist, like he pointed out, and the third is a long-time appointee. I forgot the exact title, but he's over the entirety of CAT, if I'm not mistaken. So they got some big wigs on this right here. I hate to say it that way, but they do. And I think even if you just listen to, Justice Smith, if you see how he was directing that, everything was expedited. He wanted everything to be kind of wrapped up soon. That right there spells favor for Microsoft's case, not CMA. And obviously the CMA wanted to, delay. That was pretty obvious. It was clear. The guy was fumbling all over himself, stuttering, trying to argue the case, saying that he only had got 2 days. And I had a theory about that, Everborn saga style, tinfoil hat style, where I said the fact that he had only suddenly just had 2 days before he talked on this case, to me, lends to the thought that they purposely had someone who they can say, and scapegoat and say, well, he only had 2 days to go over the case files, Your Honor, so on and so forth. That to me is a delay tactic, because they had plenty of time, they had ample time to get somebody that did know the case. Hell, they could have brought in the lead of the CMA if they needed to, but they didn't do that. Instead, they got this counsel who they can just put as a scapegoat. That all of the things they did were to try to delay, and they had, of course, tried to force the case where they said, well, we need more time to go over this and to present that. And Microsoft's lawyers rather, came back and said, well, we only had 4 weeks, which they were correct. They only had 4 weeks to do what they had to do by the CMA standards. Why then do they get favorable treatment where they can get months at a time to do what they need to do? And the judge seemed to largely agree. Everything he was talking about, he said something along the lines of a fortnight, which is 2 weeks. He's trying to get it done sooner than later. So everything seems to be going Microsoft direction. Then you have the whole situation with Brad Smith saying what he's saying. And now, of course, he's meeting up with the prime minister over there. Hunter, is it Hunter, I believe? And so all of these things leads me to say that Microsoft has played their hands to the way where they're getting bigger government over the CMA to push things in their direction. I do not believe for 1 second that any such body of government is beyond beyond somebody else with big money coming in and say, hey, we need to move this way with this direction. We see it here in America all the time. I don't believe Britain is special when it doesn't happen over there. Microsoft has tons of money and influence, and what they say, such as Brad Smith saying that would be their, the Death Valley, that resonated. So I believe that, going around saying what he said, all of that was marketed to push, the CMA in a direction and to push people around them in the direction. And my thing is, I'm still wondering, because the UK is so special with how they handle what they handle. I just wonder how the CAT tribunal situation will work, just based off what we've had discussions with our brother Luke Steele, because Luke but he was, he deals with the CMA, and he's an M&A lawyer, and he pointed out that even with them passing things back, that the CMA are basically ruling over themselves. I just wonder how that will play out. But then I'm hearing other things now too, that the CAT can overrule that and say, well, you all got this math wrong here, we're going to pass it or whatever. I don't know how it's going to work out at the end of the day, but I do know that the CMA has no real case. The math is clearly wrong. Their argument is dumb. And as like you said, Risk, once they present that in that way and say, hey, these users you claim make up 60 or 70 or whatever, 80% or whatever it is, clearly that's wrong. Not everybody is using cloud that way. And maybe they'll come to their senses, but it seems like they've kind of dug in. I just hope that it's wrapped up sooner than later. And
Yeah,
I'm
well,
pretty
that's
sure
it.
most of us are.
That was one of his points as well. And then his other point was when you cloud gaming, it's hard to separate that market from any other type of gaming, because whenever you are, I think this is just surmising what he said. But whenever you cloud game, you need a piece of hardware to do it on. So you need a monitor, you need a phone, you need a console, you need whatever it is. So how do you technically separate that market from any of the other markets that are gaming as a whole? It's really difficult to do that and say this is its own separate market, because it's just really not. It's just factually not. And I actually hadn't thought of it that way until he brought it up and put it that way. And I'm like, wow, that's 100% true. We've all sort of been going along with this, but yeah.
AJ, thank you, AJ Edge. I knew it was something like that. I forgot y'all have such fancy titles over there. Jeremy Hunt is not the prime minister. He's the chancellor of Exchequer. I don't know how you say that.
Exchequer.
Exchequer. Is that it?
Yeah.
Exchequer.
Someone made a really good point in
And
the
Rishi
chat. I
Sunak
think
is the prime minister. Thank you for that, AJ. I knew I
think,
get names confused.
the Activision lawyer made a fantastic point when he pushed back against that they couldn't read the 400-word document, because he read over it twice and he was so prepared. And I love that Activision lawyer. He just absolutely dominated and controlled the room. I thought he was brilliant. So that pushback against that argument that they're not going to be ready as well.
Yeah, well, absolutely. I mean, as the judge said, Microsoft was able to put together an appeal and a decent appeal to the block within a month. And so the CMA should be able to come up with some sort of a defense when they already have their points in place up against the MS. Cutie, I am going to go to you. I'm going to skip Epic because I know Epic, you just really don't get into this sort of stuff. But
no, I'm so glad you're all knowledgeable because I'm not.
Cutie,
Thank God.
did you get a chance to watch it or did you just read up on it? There was a lot of literature.
No, I just read up on it. I wasn't going to stay awake. I think it was quite late and went for quite a long time. Personally, okay, so from the reading I've done, some people are hating on what's her name? Lena what?
Lena Khan.
Yes, Lena Khan. They're like, oh, you know, having a go simply because she's female and all that kind of stuff. I don't care. I don't care what gender you are. She did the wrong thing. We knew she was doing the wrong thing. It's not cool, especially in business. When you're part of that political scene, you have the privilege of being a figure for people. So you must be exactly to the line of the law. Otherwise, you are going to be torn down. Also, in regards to the definition of cloud gaming,
Xbox has no games.
Sorry, I saw that.
Gold Eastwood.
Hey, Gold.
Gold Eastwood.
Yeah, look, I think they're doing the right thing. They're like, right, what's the issue? What are the biggest issues? This is your opportunity to lay them out, and this is our opportunity to now appease those issues. This was their chance. Now Xbox is saying, well, that's easy. We can definitely answer these questions. And they cannot say that Microsoft have not done their due diligence with this deal. And I think it's a good thing moving forward.
Absolutely. We will jump on to the next topic. Colt, welcome in the chat. I would say PlayStation has no games personally. That's based on their recent showcase. I didn't see any there. Did anyone else see any there? They were missing, especially the first party. I've got a list here. There was a movie. That's first party. So it's not a game. Yeah, it doesn't count. Look, the CMA and the CAT hearing. Look, I really do believe that CAT will overrule this. It's very rare that they do that, but just based on the judge's demeanor, the questions he asked, the pointed questions that he asked, they had a purpose. He has given CMA the heads up, though. And so, that's something that they should really, be taken on board and be working on those specific points that the judge had brought up. But there's really nothing there. I think the judge is completely correct. You can't classify Game Pass gamers as cloud gamers, and it is really difficult to separate the cloud market from the gaming market as a whole. So, and when we talk about holes, there's a massive one in CMA's case. We will move on to the next topic.
If you saw, but Mr. Joanna Dark pointed out that if that is right, and what they're using to say how many people are using cloud games, then Amazon controls 200% of the cloud gaming market because everyone that has Amazon Prime is a cloud gamer.
Yeah.
I thought that was a brilliant point.
Yeah, absolutely. And they sort of stacked the numbers, man. It was sort of ridiculous when you start to properly look at it. Hug-Eat's been a brilliant one for that. We've had some good conversations with that. And when you remove Game Pass gamers, the amount of control that Amazon has as well, even without those subscribers, is huge. Absolutely huge. We'll move on to the next topic. Before we do, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, share us out, tell your grandma, tell your brother, tell your sister, tell your mum, especially tell your mum. That we go live at 8 p.m. EST every Friday. I was just kidding about your mum. Sorry if you're offended. We will jump straight to the Thimba had a question. He said, let's say hypothetically Xbox spends some serious cash for GTA 6 day one Game Pass. How'd you guys grade the showcase of such a reveal? That's 10 out of 10. Thimba.
10.
Yeah,
10 out of 10 immediately, bro.
Yeah, immediate
not even
10
a
out of
question.
10. Yeah, you can't. Yeah, that's just a win. That's even if they get just the marketing deal is enough to make it a 10 out of 10. James Thomas with the $5 super chat. Thank you very much, guys. I'm sorry I didn't read this after the topic. It is one of my pet hates that people do that, but I understand why the people do that on a podcast, because you get rolling with a topic and then you roll into the next topic and you just miss it. And I apologize, James, but open with Killer Instinct 2, like the debut of Xbox One, comes full circle, and Shadow Drop Flintlock, and end with a Sega partnership announcement. That's what James would like to see. Guys, what do we think of that? I wouldn't mind seeing a Killer Instinct. I wouldn't mind seeing that come back.
Absolutely
I love
the come back. Yeah,
Nice.
that'd be dope. Yeah, that might be maybe that's a revival. Like I know Clobril kind of made a supposedly hypothetical one, but maybe he was kind of trying to give us a little hint there. Maybe that would be one. That would be dope if Killer Instinct was done. I would just hope it had a bigger budget behind it to give it, a little extra.
Yeah, but I've recently heard
Yeah.
that Xbox is not the place to play fighting games.
Who told you that?
And that I can't remember his name, but there's a lot of people. Is that fighting games are just better on PlayStation?
Soul Pony.
Yeah.
No, who-
Which-
Actually, fighting games are better on PC. Just saying.
no.
Unfortunately, I didn't have the soundboard up, but but look, I'm going to skip a topic there. Well, there is one that I do want to talk about. I think it's kind of related to this regulatory. Oh, I just found a sock in my pocket. It's not my sock. It's my son's sock. Little insight to what's going on in my life. PlayStation is being investigated based on price fixing, digital price fixing. And I'll just read the quote because this is really interesting. And this is as a result of what's been going on around these regulatory bodies across the world. And this is just Romania's Competition Council. They claim the company is taking advantage of their dominant position in the console market by allowing digital games to be sold only through its store, which is something that we've heard before. Now, the press release from the Romanian Competition Council reads as, and this is a translation, so if I read it with an accent, then that's because of the translation. The competition authority has indicated that Sony will have abused its dominant position in the video game console market by both selling online video games compatible with PlayStation consoles exclusively through the PlayStation Store platform, and by prohibiting the sale of games activation codes video compatible with PlayStation consoles. But I don't know if that makes sense. Basically, they're annoyed that PlayStation locks down their digital market and they're investigating this. This is
Very interesting.
very interesting. And look, I do apologize. That was a terrible, terrible accent. And this is just something that has been a bit of a bugbear of mine, because if I want to get an Xbox game, a digital monad in the chat has slapped his forehead. If I want to get a game off Xbox, and I want to get it cheaper, I can go to Umbra, I can go to CD Keys, I can go to plenty of places other than the Xbox Game Store to pick up my game at a better price. And that creates a bit of competition. It doesn't necessarily move the needle on Xbox's prices. It definitely doesn't. They sit as the same as PlayStation's, but the option is there, and it gives you more options if you want to pick up an older game, and it's just not on special on that digital store at the time. So this is a great thing. I really would love to see PlayStation release their digital codes to go on to other platforms. That would be fantastic. Epic Treasure, I don't know if this is a massive thing for you, but do you have a PlayStation, for one?
I do.
Yeah, and would you like to be able to purchase your games on other digital stores aside from PlayStation?
I don't know. It doesn't really bother me. I kind of expect with PlayStation to pay full price all the time, and it's just easy for me to just go straight through their store. So for me, it does not bother me at all, but others it probably does.
You're not a big user of CD Keys or Umbra or...
No, I'm actually not. No.
But you do play
Is
on...
that weird?
You do play on PC a bit, right?
No, I don't. Like very rare. Like 99% of the time on Xbox. With PC games, it'll be just like very indie sort of horror type ones, but and then PlayStation's exclusive. So no, not at all.
Is your PlayStation getting dusty, or do you dust it regularly?
It is okay. I've got to say it is, and it's a shame. The shame makes me sad.
It does. Makes me sad.
Right next to me.
I spent same. Like I just rubbed the top of it, and there's literally dust on my finger. It's
no joke.
Yeah, it's not getting turned on.
No, the only thing that's gathering dust in my house is my PlayStation, because I haven't touched that in.
Oh God, I was worried what you were.
And I want to touch it. That's
true. I do.
Keep talking, cutie. Keep talking.
Yeah, like I would really love to play with it, but I have no good reason.
That's what I'm talking about.
I have no good reason,
No, it's always a good reason.
And moving on. Jedi.
No, what are you stopping? Why are you stopping
Knights.
this? Misogynist.
Definitely going to move on. Jedi, I'm just going to quickly ask you, let Cutie cool down for a second there in the green room.
I'm fine.
Riskit he's a killer of fun. Have you all noticed that?
Absolutely. I will destroy fun anywhere I see
Cutie was on a roll. Let her have fun. Dang.
No, definitely not. Jedi, so what do you think? Do you think we're going to see this a bit of a movement through the regulatory bodies throughout the world, where they're going to start looking at PlayStation more closely and And not just for this and the things that they do with, for instance, we've heard they've been charging developers ridiculous amounts of money to appear on the store. The crossplay tax, all that sort of stuff. Do you think that regulatory boards will start looking more closely at Sony now that this has all sort of come to light with the ABK deal?
Honestly, I don't know. And I find it very strange that this came up in Romania, of all places. I mean, not a big market. That every single PlayStation argument that PlayStation has used against the ABK deal, PlayStation are doing. So they have opened up this can of worms. They're asking regulators to block the deal, and in doing so have opened themselves up to pushback from these regulatory bodies. And look, I hope it happens. I was saying it on Gamers Initiative podcast before. If it does happen, I don't want there to be too much damage done to PlayStation. I just hope that they change their ways. I think that we need PlayStation to be vibrant, successful. I don't want them to get like a massive fine, and I don't want regulatory bodies to be doing it all over the place, because that's just going to hurt them too much. But I just hope that they look at it, look internally, look at what they're saying and using as arguments against the acquisition, and take a lot of that stuff to heart. Whether they're going to do that, I just don't think so.
Yeah, look, I am personally always open to pushback. Cutie, what about yourself? Sorry. Well, you said I didn't have any fun. I thought that was pretty fun. Anyway, look, Cutie, what do you think?
If you hit the drum for yourself after you say it.
Look, I personally, I'm a bit like a big treasure here. I don't mind paying for a game, so this doesn't really bother me. And like I said, I barely buy PlayStation games anyway. If I'm buying a multi-plat, I'll buy it on Xbox. So yeah, I don't know. It's funny that it comes out of Ukraine as well. It's like, that's
Romania.
Oh, sorry, Romania.
Romania.
Sorry.
And someone asked what accent that was, by the way. That was clearly Romanian, and I'm offended. I feel attacked.
You do great accents, Riskit. I don't know what they're talking about.
He said, I feel attacked.
Yeah, look, Umbra, this is something. Look, I know you and I definitely get a bit passionate about the way PlayStation operates within the market and how they use their mind share, their market share, their clear lead in the market to lean on the rest of the market. And it's good to see a regulator starting to push back.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to see. I don't know how much will come out of it in Romania, so that's the problem. I feel if I would have seen that in the UK, or if I would have seen it here in America, then I'd be like, yeah, get him. It's Romania, though. I mean, didn't what's his name just get out of a Romanian jail? And he was like supposedly trafficking people. Like, come on,
Andrew Tate.
Yeah, like if he got away with that,
yeah,
Sony is about to get away with this. So I don't really see it going anywhere. That's the problem.
I do have to say this though. I do apologize to any Romanian people in the chat. Umbra's views are not the views of Xbox.
No, that is the government. That has nothing to do with the lovely people of Romania. I am sure you all great people in Romania. I don't know this. I don't know if you talk like that. I'm sorry. But no, I just don't think it'll go anywhere. That's the bigger thing. But anything with Sony actually getting some comeuppance for their practices, that would be great. So I hope that it happens, but I just don't see it going anywhere with this particular case just because of the location.
You don't see it sparking a fire? Could be the tinderbox that sparks the fire that runs through the industry and just absolutely destroys PlayStation's anti-competitive. No, you don't see that.
Unfortunately, no. I mean, you got the FTC over here almost fighting for Sony. I just don't see that happening where Romania is going to be the thing that tilts the scale and, this will be the spark. I just don't see it.
Yeah, probably true. Speaking of sparks, we do have to move on to the next topic. Before we do, please hit the like button. Subscribe, share us out. This one is very interesting. And I hate we have run over this topic many, many times, and it has been done to death. And we thought it was dead, and unfortunately, Bloomberg goes and brings it back at a very interesting time. A very, very interesting time. And I will read out my tweet about this later on after they've gone to the panel. But Bloomberg has released a report saying that he's spoken to, I think it was 20 members of Arcane, the studio that developed Redfall. Some of the comments, some of the quotes that came from the article are staff members said that over time they grew frustrated with the management's frequently shifting references to other games such as Far Cry and Borderlands, left each department with varying ideas of what exactly they were making. So they clearly didn't have a clear vision for the game. From the actual report, it seems that Bethesda had decided to try to make a quick few gas games to get them out of trouble, because we all knew Bethesda wasn't in a great situation, especially after Fallout 76. And they were looking to make, those live service games that would constantly bring in the money before they were purchased. Now, when Microsoft purchased them, according to the article, the developers had all hoped that the game would be cancelled and they would be able to make something more akin to their previous games, like Dishonored, like Prey. And unfortunately, that didn't happen. It seems that the studio, what I got from this, even though Bloomberg's very much skewed it toward Xbox being at fault as much as he possibly could, from what I'm seeing here, I think the studio heads are the most to blame about how this sort of game released. I don't think they directed their studio very well. I don't think they were honest with Pete Hines. I don't think they were honest with Xbox. And I don't think they looked after their guys. Apparently 70 developers, I think it was 120, so over half their team, left the studio based on the game that they were making. That's just something that's absolutely dire. Pete, I know that we talked about this and quite a bit, and I didn't really see it coming back up. I do want to add that it's a really interesting time coming off the back of a less than fantastic PlayStation show. A lot of negative PlayStation news at the moment. Seems to be a lot of hype building for Xbox, the last negative news being Redfall. And then Jason goes and releases an article like this, just saying, hey, what about this? I don't know. He obviously doesn't look at the timelines, but it's really interesting that he hasn't done a deep dive into what went on behind the scenes at the PlayStation Showcase. He did a deep dive into this and released it at this time. I don't know. Seems a bit fishy, Pete.
This is why I don't trust this article or Jason Schreier. I mean, Redfall has been out for a while now. Why did this article come out straight after the negativity of the PlayStation Showcase, and just as the momentum and the hype is building up for the Xbox Showcase? The timing of it just stinks to high heaven. It feels that he's shilling now for PlayStation even more than he ever was, and honestly, I just don't care about what he writes. I honestly just don't care. I mean, yeah, Redfall could have been a hell of a lot better. It should have been a lot better, and I hope Xbox learned from it. But to write this article just bashing everything about Xbox is, I think, disgusting. And as a journalist, and the fact that you're meant to be objective on these sort of things, I just don't see it.
Yeah, look, I do a lot of the article. I would believe that he's got some people talking to him, but if he sort of just leaned it towards Xbox, whereas I believe if you read the article, the things that he's saying, that the developers are saying, this is more on the studio than anyone else. I mean, any bad release is, but this is more on the studio and on Pete Hines than it is on Xbox, 110%. But he sort of skewed it. Look, I did write a tweet, and then I'm going to jump over to Epic and sort of get your thoughts on Redfall as a whole, because we haven't talked to you about Redfall and what you thought about it and what you think about this article. But I posted a tweet earlier in the week, said, this is Jim Ryan. Hey, Jay Diggs, saw the show, huh? Jason Schreier said, yeah, not good. Don't worry about it. I'll never write an article about that. And then Jim responds and says, I know. That low-key hit piece you got tucked away. Xbox showcase is a little out of control. I'll put it up on the screen because I didn't read that very well. That sort of sucked. But Epic, I feel like this is this horrific timing. And I feel like it was planned. He did come out and say something about that, how he didn't believe that he didn't write his articles based on showcases, but it just feels fishy. Like it's right at the time Fable's teaser tweets released. It feels like he was sort of pocketing this until he could get maximum effect from it, and I feel like this is a maximum effect time. So yeah, I mean, I do believe that Jason Schreier shills a lot for PlayStation. But hey, Redfall was a bad game. It was a terrible game, and you can absolutely, there's no two ways about it. So, Epic, what are your thoughts on Redfall? What do you think about this? Do you think he has sort of purposely done this, dropped it at a specific time to sort of take away from the hype?
I've only heard little bits and pieces about it. I didn't want to read the article. I had a great time playing Redfall. I think people were just ridiculously too hard on it. It wasn't the best game in the world, but it wasn't a piece of shit either. To me, it was like, equivalent to Back for Blood type of level. You know what I mean? We had a fun time playing it. People got upset with me because I said I enjoyed playing it. But it was fun. It was fun in solo, fun in co-op. So if anyone's got something bad to say, I don't really care too much. But as long as people had fun, it doesn't bother me. But yeah, timing is usually everything. And when people drop things around certain times, and they usually kind of have a little bit of an ulterior motive for sure. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, I enjoyed playing Redfall as well. Just with friends, I didn't enjoy it in single player that much, but definitely with friends, I enjoyed it.
I had 2 glitches in the whole game, and I think I played maybe at least 50 hours of it. But we're just having a good time. So
it's Game Pass,
Yeah.
Get the download.
Why not? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's certainly not a full. I would never pay full price for it. It's more like, to me, like a in Australian dollars, like a $40 game or something like that. But for the bite back version, which was an incredibly insane amount, that's wild for sure. So, it wasn't the greatest game, certainly not worth the money. Absolutely playing Game Pass for sure. So I think.
Yeah, I guess you could look at it like that, but when it's a first party, it has become a first party studio. The situation's sort of changed.
Yeah.
For those developers and the hype that was built around it. It was like a lot of the messaging. I mean, we've gone over this ad nauseam, but a lot of the messaging. Look, I thought the game was terrible. It wasn't for me. I love my first person shooters, and that just did not do it for me at all.
Yeah.
I mean, but I respect that people. I ain't gonna attack people for liking the game. Unless it's Pete, of course.
It's very similar to the PlayStation Showcase. It to me wasn't a piece of shit showcase in general, but for Sony it was, because you expected first party stuff. It was some cool games in there. And then when, like you say, when it's their main game, Redfall, Xbox, then you do hold it to a higher standard. So I guess when people are comparing that, then it was a dumpster fire. But as a game, I don't think it is as bad as what people say that it is. Well, you might have had a bad experience, but for me, I didn't really. So
Look, I filmed.
It's relative.
I live streamed my first experience with Redfall, and I mean, you can tell from that live stream that what I thought of it. It was.
You also played it single player, bro. I think it's a hell of a lot more fun when you play with friends. I really, really do. And Epic, I agree 100%. PlayStation Showcase, as a gamer, and I've tried to accentuate this fact, even though Riskit did me dirty and cut it out of the Twitter thing that he put up there, and on the YouTube short, and everywhere else he could have posted it, is I gave the Showcase an 8 as a gamer, because there's things there that I was going to love. Dragon's Dogma 2, Alan Wake 2, Marathon. Games that I'm absolutely going to love. As a PlayStation gamer, it's a 4, and that's what Riskit, cut out. He says it was a mistake, but yeah, it's bullshit.
Oh, there was no mistake. I cut that out on purpose. And it was hilarious, and I loved it. But you gave it an 8, so I mean, if you get
yeah,
100% agree.
Look, he hawned it up that week. I remember that. Yeah.
I think, probably that this is hyped up a little bit more than it probably should be. I think, it's coming off the back of the PlayStation Showcase, and I guess they just wanted to drag Xbox through the mud a little bit. But new, all kinds of news is news. It gets Xbox in the spotlight again. Because I feel like everyone stopped talking about Redfall because Diablo is so amazing. And look, it's so much better with friends. I have said that many times, and but it was a little bit let down. Like some of the stuff, some aspects of the game, considering it was delayed.
Oh, you mean
seemed unfinished?
Every aspect of the game? Yes. Agreed. Every aspect of the game is like from the. I mean, look, if again you can use that Game Pass thing, and I hate it when people do that because it doesn't excuse, and then all it does is give license to make those games and go, well, it's a
Poor
Game
games.
Pass, it's fine.
Mhm.
But like from the graphics, the graphics. From the graphics to the gameplay to the way that you co-op to the lack of like just anything in town. I literally ran from one mission to the next mission without seeing any enemies. Look, the game was bad, and then they charged a ridiculous amount of money. The Bite Back edition was $158, I think, in Australia. So it was just unacceptable, and that's fine. But I mean, we had hopefully moved past it into the PlayStation Showcase, which was trash. But no, Jason Schreier's going to go bring it up again. What a dick. It's probably why he's got me blocked. Umbra, what did you think of the article?
Oh, shivers.
He has everybody blocked. Don't feel special.
I definitely don't.
No,
Yeah.
I'm not blocked though. So to be fair, I think I am special because I'm like the person in the Xbox community not blocked. But seriously, I think it was odd. Not odd. It was very specific timing. Now he responded. I don't know if you all saw this. He responded to Kid Smooth, who posted about it. He said, "You think that Bloomberg such and such, schedules our releases and news releases, press releases around video games," and like scoffed at him basically, right? Now I kind of get that, but it's just oddly coincidental that no soon as there's negative news for PlayStation, here he comes to try to save the day by shifting it to negativity for Xbox. So it just came off really weird. It might not be the case, but that's definitely the perception a lot of people got.
Yeah.
I'll say this too. Regardless of whatever people might think on that, the truth is what we need to get to the bottom of here, and that is the nastiness behind the scenes of Redfall. And I say nastiness, I say that probably sounds too harsh, but so a lot of the devs on there, as we came to find out, 70% of them left from what we heard. Most of them did not want to make a multiplayer, open world type of game. They wanted to kind of, make the game that Austin had typically made. So that's crazy to hear. And it's even crazier that they continued on with it when most of the crew did not want to didn't see that vision as worthy to continue on with. I put the blame largely on Bethesda / Pete Hines / Harvey Smith. This is not on Xbox overall. They have some fault here now. There's no reason in the world that they should not have ever not looked at what anybody under them are putting out, right? That should have been the case. Like the whole thing I said was the trust but verify. They should have still looked and seen like, oh, wait a minute. Oh, this is not, what is this? So they still should have looked at things. That doesn't excuse them, but they don't get the bulk of the blame, if you will. Here, that blame falls squarely on Pete Hines, Harvey Smith, and Bethesda, because they were making this game before it got to Xbox, and they knew of these issues long before. Nothing was escalated and brought up to management to bring it to the attention of Xbox proper and say, hey, we have this issue right here. We might have to delay. Hey, we have this issue here. Could you give us help us with a bigger budget? Whatever. None of that was talked about until the last second, and then by that point it was too late. So this is a fault of everybody, mostly on Bethesda's side. That's the problem. And somebody pointed out, I forgot who it was that pointed it out, but on one of the podcasts I was watching, but it was a no-win for Microsoft either way. If they canceled it, and it would look like, oh, Microsoft is stifling these creators, et cetera, right? And now that they let it go through, clearly you saw what happened, and you saw how Phil had to respond. It was an L either way it goes, and I'm pretty sure.
A lot of the reason why Xbox got Bethesda Umbra is because they could self-manage. They didn't want to micromanage these studios. That's a lot of the reason they're picking up Activision as well. I think the initiative showed them how hard it is to build the studio up from the ground up, with a lot of those developers leaving, even though they were extremely talented. And I think that they kind of left Bethesda to, do what they generally did. And you're absolutely right. It wasn't good enough from those three gentlemen that you mentioned.
So my thinking on that is just that. It's like, typically that is the case, that I think they want to get developers that's already established, which makes sense. Trying to create a whole new studio to do all of that. Look at the initiative already. That's causing them a longer time to put out what they have to put out with Perfect Dark, because they had to bring in Crystal Dynamics. It's easier just to grab a team that's already there, competent, et cetera, and Austin is a competent team. They just made a stinker here, in my estimation, of Redfall. Now, and to each their own. I'm not going to fault anybody that enjoys the game. Like, if you enjoy Epic Treasure, that is fine. I just disagree completely as far as what the game is. Now, I'm not saying you can't have fun with it, because I had fun with it from what I played, right? But I just think as far as fundamentally goes, as far as the game itself, what they made with it, it just wasn't, the DNA of it just wasn't that great. But again, I put that largely on Bethesda / Harvey Smith. To me, that right there, and this guy is seasoned to allow something like that to happen, and then now Phil has to more or less die on a sword for you. That's just terrible right there, So even beyond Jason Schreier doing what he did, a lot of the stuff that he pointed out, we all largely guessed was the case when we discussed this some time back. I'm sure you all remember. So a lot of this, the only thing that was really alluded to us that we didn't know was the 70% of people that left, that people didn't really want to make it, and et cetera, et cetera. So that was kind of crazy to see. But all of it spelled doom for this title. It's like everything around it was a bad omen. It's like, I think there needed to be some type of different intervention that went on. Maybe canceling it, like people said. I think that would have probably been the wiser choice. But I mean, I guess it was put out there. It is what it is now. I think it's a lesson. It's a hard lesson that's learned either way. And I think Microsoft is going to be better for it at the end. I've said that, and I stand by that.
Yeah. Look,
sure.
absolutely. And the other thing that we sort of learned was that, like you said, there, Umbra, is that the developers didn't want to make this game. So hopefully in the future we can see Arcane make the games, the type of games that they want to make. And I truly believe that Xbox is the platform, for that, where they nurture their developers' ideas. And Phil Spencer himself said that in the thing. I think he knew this as well, because some of the things he said in that interview with Kind of Funny, was that we're never going to be the platform hoarder that doesn't listen to our developers on what they want to make. We're always going to be that developer, and I think that's a great thing. And this obviously wasn't one of those, and I think they sort of figured that out too late, and we're just unaware. And I will put the blame on Xbox for being unaware. And obviously they're still integrating, and they're saying they're still integrating, and that takes a lot of work. And integrating any merger takes a lot of work, and you've got to figure things out. How you're going to work together as a team, and obviously they failed on that. And let's hope in the future that they do this right with ABK, and Bobby Kotick gets a massive kick up the backside out the door, and his golden parachute breaks, and he lands and breaks both of his legs. No, I love Bobby. Hi, Bobby, if you're listening. We do have to move on to the next topic, and it's definitely just one of positivity, because we've had a lot of positivity this week, right? I would have to say we've been pretty positive, guys. You think we've been positive? Pretty positive? Yay.
Sure.
Everyone's
Yeah.
Just oozing positivity. Hey, Diablo released. It's positive, bro.
Yeah, this is what I'm jumping on to next. Before we do, hit the like button, share us out. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button. Street Fighter released, and from what I've heard, I haven't played it. I did play the demo, loved it, man. I really liked it. The one thing I don't like about it is it's got and look, I understand you have to have this, but it's got some accessibility options that could kind of make that game a bit of a breeze when it comes to PvP. So I'm a little bit iffy about that, and I like to play it in the classic way, where you have to perform the moves, to get your specials out. But, I thought it was a brilliant game. So that's released. It's been getting rave reviews. Everyone's loving that game. So that's fantastic. We got a couple of guys that play with us within our group that were loving it. So quickly to the panel, has anyone had a chance to play Street Fighter?
It's a beta, bro.
Unfortunately, unfortunately, no. I hadn't, but I am going to get it soon, maybe in the next 2 weeks. Oh, I got Diablo now. So I'm going to be on that. So I'm just going to be waiting, unfortunately. I know we got our brother Diablo. We got our brother C-Step who bought it, and he doesn't really play these types of games. So I do want to get on it and crack his head open.
Yes,
it's getting as well.
Yeah.
The one that got it is
who else
loving
picked it up?
Huggy did.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay, nice. Yeah,
Let's-
definitely want to knock his beard off too. So,
Well, see, I'll get it as well because you don't really play these fighting games too, and it seems like
Yeah.
there's a lot of guys who are getting these games that don't play them, and I don't really play. I haven't picked up Street Fighter since like back in the arcade. Back when it was on the the old
man,
systems,
even
man.
more.
So I would
even older than me. Yeah,
Yeah, I would
Sheesh.
love to get in and like play against people who really don't have the aren't fighting games players and just have a bit of fun with it.
Yeah. I mean, I know enough to hit you with a Saruken or a Hadouken. I'm still gonna knock you out, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, I think you're gonna have the cheat systems on. That's fine.
Oh no.
If you're playing classic,
part of my growing up, man, has been playing Street Fighter, but I hadn't played it like you said, Riskit. I think since Street Fighter 3.
Yeah.
I didn't play 4 and at all. I didn't play 5 at all. So this right here is a resurgence. I actually, when they did 5, it left a bad taste in my mouth. I didn't like that situation. I know it wasn't all Capcom's fault, but it just left a bad taste in my mouth at the time. And so no, this is a return to form, and I'm happy to see it. Just Capcom in general, kind of turning their whole tide around for the entirety of the company. It's just good to see. Because Capcom is just one of the greatest,
Hadouken is not a
Kevin
word.
Baldwin.
I think it was Hadouken.
I said Shoryuken. Sure, it's Shoryu. Shoryuken, like Shoryuken.
I think it's Hadouken. Hadouken.
Hadouken is the other one, but it's Shoryuken. Thank you, Kevin Baldwin. You had it wrong. I was correct. It's Shoryuken. Shoryuken. Yes, take that. That's for you, Kevin. But I was going to say just to add in, what I'm loving though is it seems like a celebration of their fight of the series to me. Just everything you're seeing with it, how they're showing Cammy, Chun-Li, like people said, and them looking, as delicious as they should. Chun-Li looking thicker than the Snicker. You know what I mean? All of that's right. You know what I mean? The personality of the game is just, it seems to be there.
Snicker's really big in the US because over here they're just they're quite thin. They're like a little thin chocolate. Or is it just
okay.
Is it the rhyming thing? Is it just...
Well, they're kind of thick, and it's a rhyming thing. Yeah,
okay.
Just,
my bad.
Yeah.
It's because I'm Australian.
Yeah,
I don't understand that.
Yeah. You don't get the code. Yeah, it's all right. It is what it is. But yeah, man. No, seriously, I'm liking everything I've seen. I'm liking everything I've seen of the game, and I've heard nothing but positivity around it. Like I said, I like the stylish way they kind of handled it. The only thing I did have a little bit, it's all love, Kevin. I was just messing with you. But the only thing I did have a bit of a problem with was that it seemed a little slower to me, just the way the characters move. And I guess that's because I'm used to how characters move with Tekken, which I'm excited and can't wait to play made in Unreal Engine.
Is it the turbo? Because I mean, back in the day, I think was three was the one with turbo, right? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, well, 2 had it too.
Oh, 2 had it as well.
Street Fighter 2, yeah. The thing about Street Fighter games is they always have so many iterations. This is why I think I have a bit of a problem, because I feel like they're going to end up doing, get the Street Fighter 6 Super Turbo World Edition. Like, I already know what's going to happen. And I get slightly annoyed by that because it always feels like it's a phone update. Like, you want to get the new iPhone 6? Here you go. iPhone 7 coming out like a month later. I don't like that. You know what I mean? And Capcom kind of does that with Street Fighter.
I think they've slowed it down because that new mechanic, the drive meter that you've got there, and you've got to have time to combo them. And using your drive meter is when you do get that extra pace out of the game. So I think that's the reason why they slowed it down. But I actually like that. It makes it more methodical. It makes it the people that are more technically gifted at the game better. So yeah, I actually really like that.
That's
mechanic.
cool. I do want to try out the drive system and everything like that. I do like the somewhat of like, is that the drivers, are those the things that like allow them to do their specials when like for instance with Ken? Yeah, okay. Yeah. I do want to try that out. I've seen some and they look really, really well done.
And you don't need to build up that drive bar. You actually start with it, which I think is really, really cool. So you can just start off the bat with a drive mechanic, or you can wait for it till later on. And there's a lot of technicality behind the game, which I think will bode for the life cycle of the game going,
that's dope
into the future.
And of course, they're going to bring into this fighting circuit with the fans. So like Evo and everything like that. Who owns PlayStation owns that now, right? I believe.
Yeah, I think they bought it like about a year ago. I think they did. Yeah, I mean, look, they've brought out new characters as well, so they're not just resting on their laurels. I think there's maybe 5, maybe 6 brand new characters in Street Fighter as well, which is really cool.
It's a few. I know that Kimberly girl with one.
It'd be fantastic to see a Killer Instinct sort of Street Fighter 6 crossover. That would be good. But I did want to ask Cutie, because I know that you were slightly fixated earlier in the year on Chun-Li's thighs. And now, are Chun-Li's thighs as thick, and do they live up to everything that you'd ever dreamed of?
Oh, look, I think the character models in Street Fighter are so iconic and they always look incredible. You know what? I'm glad they slowed down the game, although I don't know if I'm going to play it. I don't know. Like it's a fun game.
What do you have against Capcom? Why?
I am poor. I am
Oh,
poor. I am
That's a-
poor. I
that's-
have
that's a
nothing
good
against
excuse.
Capcom.
Okay, I've got a
Um,
question for you, Cutie. Cammy or Chun-Li?
Chun-Li every
There you
day,
go.
all
There
day,
you go.
all day.
There you go.
I'm a
That's
Cammy man
right.
myself.
Yeah, of
You
course
would
you
be.
are.
Yeah, you'd be
Each
be like,
their own.
I typically don't like my blondes, but hey,
no, Cammy is tight too though. But who beats Chun-Li though? Come on. It's
I mean, and
Chun-Li.
the character models just look so absolutely real. I mean, I've got one up on screen now. It's completely stark how well they've sort of the realism involved in that in these games now. I mean, I'm not sure if it was made in UE5, but if you look at that, it's just it's
definitely
amazing.
doesn't look like it.
Yeah, absolutely amazing.
Oh man,
Looks way too good for that.
Now you see why I love Unreal Engine 5, right? Yeah, look at that. Look how realistic that look and lifelike. Look at that. It's nice.
Well, if you're
I
gonna
can
do
almost
that, you
feel
gotta put
those
Cammy
thighs.
up there. Come on.
Nah, she's no good. Yeah, look, it's absolutely, the game is like absolute fun. The Grey Monad in the chat says nom nom nom. I got a joke about that. I'll tell you, what the hell? Look, moving on to another game that dropped this and dropped to pretty decently rave reviews. Diablo 4 was getting 5 out of 5's Games Radar, Dextero, VGC, Video Gamer, Gamerant gave it a 4.5. IGN gave it a 9 out of 10. And my personal favorite reviewer that I go to for any sort of reviews, he is a fellow Australian. I do hope to see him at the showcase, so I can fangirl out. Skillup was he gave it a very honest review. He said there's nothing new here. There's nothing we haven't seen in other RPGs, ARPGs, but everything that's here is done well. It's fully fleshed out. The systems seem to work. There will be updates, there will be iterations, but this is an amazing release for Diablo, and I'm having a fantastic time. I didn't play 3, I didn't like it. It wasn't my thing, and I'm not a massive, I haven't played since Diablo 2, so I'm sort of out of the world and out of how it runs. And I'm just sort of learning all the systems and learning how it all works, but I'm absolutely loving it. Having a great time with it. But I can't give it high enough praise. I'll probably be on Diablo 4 now for quite some time. Epic Treasure, I know that you've been playing it as well, and you've made some very interesting characters. So if you want to lead out with what you named your characters, because I thought that was hilarious. And then what are you thinking? What are you thinking of Diablo so far? What do your characters' names start off with?
Well, the Necro's called Critney Fears, which she's my second character. Then we've got Veruca Salt, which is the rogue. Doom Cutie helped me build our two of the big daddies, which is that's right. I can say it. Nut Thrasher, which is the druid, but our
Say it.
just Nut Thrasher. It wouldn't actually let me type nut in, but when I use 2 T's, it let me do that. But we built a really beautiful man barbarian, and we called him Mary Choppins, and he looks beautiful. Look, Doom Cutie wanted me to call one of them after you, which was nice of her, but I didn't do that because. Yeah.
What did you call him, Mary Choppins?
It wasn't a vibe.
He ended up as Nut Thrasher instead. I'm sorry, but you might see him eventually. But he looks lovely. But my main is the sorcerer, just the same as you like, with electrocuting everybody. Mm-hmm. The only thing I didn't like was the lack of cosmetic customizing, because I love to spend time on that. or you just, alter the face a little bit, alter the eyes a little bit more, and it was just like basic. And I'm like, give me more. But we spent 2 hours like customizing them with what they had. They had a lot of jewelry, but yeah, I've loved it. I love 3, and I'll play every single character on there easy.
Yeah. So what do you think of I mean, did you get 3 at launch? Because what I remember about 3 was it was not there wasn't many options. It wasn't a fully fleshed out sort of a game. It felt bare bones. Whereas 4 just feels like, it's had a few iterations already for a live service game.
I played 3 from the get-go, but I've played a lot of similar games like Return to Arms, all those very similar sort of run around, chop, hack and slash type of things. So I'm not really pedantic about a lot of, like Torchlight's another one that's very similar. So I don't know. I'm pretty easy with those kind of things because I don't know, they're just all very similar. And for me, the winning part of them all is always the customizing with the skill tree, because that's the thing that I love to do most is, perfecting your character, skill-wise anyway, especially when it's like sorcery, wizardry and stuff like that. So as long as it has that, then I'm happy as Larry. So I'm not very strict when it comes to, those games. I'm happy to just keep on rolling with it, whether it be solo or with a group. It doesn't bother me. So yeah, I highly recommend it. Chat us if they should play it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've got the collector's, that collector's box doesn't come with a game. It was 188 Australian. No, but it kind of makes sense because otherwise I'd have to package it, with PlayStation or, with Xbox. So it was a little bit cheaper because it was like 188, but I got my hands on that. So it's coming this week, which has got one candle. But the artwork's beautiful. It's got the art book with it. It's got a mouse pad with it, which I don't particularly, I'll use it, but it looks stunning. And I saw somebody with an unboxing, I don't know, it was last month, I think, and I had to cover my eyes because I didn't want it to be spoiled when I unbox mine, but I'm very much looking forward to that. So, yeah, hopefully this week it'll arrive.
Awesome. I have seen Jez unbox a little bit of that. Cutie, I know that this is your jam. You love your ARPGs and you love your acronyms that I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about when you say them. So I've always got to ask.
You're still salty with you didn't know what MMO was.
Yeah, I knew what an MMO was.
or AFK. Sorry, AFK.
I knew what AFK was. It was another one.
Well, what was it?
I don't know. It was like PFT. LBW.
Oh my! I'm pretty sure.
And that's your strength to power weight ratio. And I was like, what the?
No, I've been absolutely loving myself sick in Diablo 4. I was very excited for this to come out, and I've actually gifted 2 versions of the game to the community because I do not want anyone to miss out on this. Please, if you are considering getting this game, get it. Do it.
Yeah,
right
absolutely.
now. Right now, yesterday. It is so much fun, and Epic Treasure, I'll have to jump in. Maybe I'll make a Big Daddy and we'll get our Big Daddies together.
Yeah, double daddies for sure. With the big blocks of cheese on there. Well, that's what it looks like.
It is blocks of cheese.
Yeah.
I thought that was so funny.
What is it? Oh, y'all talking about the game. Never mind.
Oh my days.
Good lord.
Emotional, damn it.
Look, I will jump to you, Umbra. And like, so you played the beta. I know you liked the beta. I'm a bit surprised that it's that you sort of today was your bite and the bullet day on it. Were you finishing up something? What was your?
I was just playing everything else, man. I played a bunch of everything. I was, playing Adelana. Like I played so much recently. I can't even tell you the names of my. That's kind of funny. But like I started getting FOMO. It was, yeah. And I had to get all the achievements knowing me, you know how I do. But I had just been playing everything. But yeah, like I started getting FOMO. Everybody, I'm level 28. I'm level 29. My build. I'm like, shut up. I had to get in.
Bro. I was 27, bro.
Well, see, it was some few other people like level 29, like, so there's other people that was telling me like, oh, I'm on level this. And I'm like, man, look, I played 11 straight hours. I played 12. I'm like, look, I was at work, okay? But no, so I started getting a little jealous, man. I'm like, I got to get in on this. I can't be left behind.
I'm level 50.
So,
Look,
are you really?
No.
No, he's not.
Oh.
I'll defend Umbra on this point because he's a one game kind of guy. He'll play one game to completion. He's not, jumping around.
I'm a loyal type. I'll stick to one thing.
I'm more of I said this the other day. I said I'm more of a buffet gamer. I'll play a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I sometimes get a little bit obsessed.
So you're disloyal with what you're telling us, huh? You don't stick to one thing.
I'm loyal when I'm there.
That's spicy meatball.
Riskit, what the hell? How did that match anything we were just saying?
I don't know.
I have no idea.
Pressing the buttons.
He's just doing anything. No, I hear you, Cutie. I'm trying to get more like that though. It's tough for me to get out of the typical stick to one traditional thing, mindset. So that's the problem for me. So, but I am going to get on it now, and I'm actually on the creation screen, just waiting for us to wrap this up a little bit so I can get in on this. But yeah, man, I'm going to start with Rogue. The build I had, I'm pretty sure it was the Twisting Blades build in the beta. So I'm going to stick to that and try to get that to its conclusion. I actually really enjoyed that build a lot. I know they have some with like poison and such. Pete, are you using Rogue too, right?
I'm using Rogue, bro.
Yeah, you see.
I'm not going Twisting Blades right now, but I did want to switch up to it once I get the aspect for it.
Yeah, don't copy off me.
Well, that's funny because I was telling you that I had Rogue build yesterday when you didn't have the game.
You had the game, but in the beta, I use a Rogue.
Look,
all I'm saying.
I will jump to Pete in a minute, but I will say I'm using the sorcerer. The sorcerer. I'm using sorcerer, and the best thing about sorcerer I've sort of found, like going through, is you can use a combination of the fire, ice, and the electricity abilities, like especially early game, and they all work really, really well together. So you can like free summon in place, hit him with some electricity, hit him with a meteor. Like it all works really, really well together. So I'm sort of happy that I don't have to skew to any one build. I probably will later on in the game, but not quite now. But Pete, what are your thoughts on
Risk? You don't still have the hobo-looking sorcerer you had from the beta, do you?
No, my guy is
because that guy looked terrible.
My guy is OP. Yeah, OP.
Yeah, okay. Because he looked terrible in the beta. I'm like, my man, you need to, I don't know, get a beard trim or something. Do something. You looking a mess.
I don't know if he's talking about me or my sorcerer.
It was your character you had in there. You remember? I was making fun of him in the beta when we played. But yeah.
So I was on Gamers Initiative podcast, and then I literally had this podcast, I think, half an hour later, but I actually played Diablo for 25 minutes in between that. That's how much I love this game. I wish I wasn't doing this podcast now because I would be playing the game right now. And yeah, look, I'm loving my Rogue. I'm feeling a little bit weak at the moment, in all honesty, so I'm playing on World Tier 2. Struggling through it a little bit, but it's great by yourself. It's great in co-op. Everybody seems to have a different build. Everyone seems to be going a different character, and everybody's equally loving it. And that typically is unheard of in games where, there's always standouts. This, whatever you like, play it. You're going to enjoy it. I can't recommend this game highly enough for everybody, and it seems to have taken the game world by storm. So yesterday, when we were all playing it, we had about 15 people just jumping in and out of the party, asking us what's the game like, how's everything going, and yeah, we just had a great time. So I can't wait to get back into it.
Yeah, absolutely. That is probably something I'm going to do after the next show that I'm on, which is Mav's show, which I'm horrifically late for. We normally only run for 2 hours, so I do have to wrap the show. Apologies to the panel, apologies to the guests for running so long. There just was a lot to get through this week, and I wanted to get through the topics that we had. So I will do our shows. But before I do, guys, please hit the like button, hit the share button. If you're new here, subscribe. We go live 8 p.m. every Friday, EST. I will let you know, everyone in the chat, that I'm not sure what's going to be happening for the next week. I am flying over to the US. I will be at the Xbox Showcase. I will be front row. Thank you, Hargeet, absolute champion. He managed to get us front row seats. I will be able to grab, if Jeff does anything that I disagree with in regards to Xbox, I'll be able to grab his leg and pull him off stage. I'll be so close. So that'll be absolutely fantastic. I hope no one's listening and I don't get arrested when I fly over. But it's going to be a fantastic week. I don't know what's going to go on with the show. I am going to take my gear and hopefully we'll be able to podcast, but I'll sort of work that out when I get there. But I'm really looking forward to it. I cannot wait for this showcase. I'm super fucking excited. But chat, you guys have been amazing. Thank you very much for coming every week and supporting us. We appreciate every single one of you. Anyone that was new here, thank you for coming through and supporting us. And to our fantastic guest, Epic Treasure, it was amazing to have you on the show. Thank you for coming through. It was a little bit late notice. I like to get things like a week in advance. So, and I didn't really do that this time. And you were awesome. So thank you for coming through. Just let the people know where they can find you, what you'll be up to, what are you planning on doing for the next couple of weeks. And if you do want to find Epic Treasure, her links will all be down in the description. You can just head there, click on those and head to Epic Treasure and follow her. She is an absolute champion and a great chick. So let people know what you're up to, what you're playing and where they can find you.
We'll be covering the Xbox showcase. We're going to have community games just before it too. So if you're into Halo, etc., then jump in. You'll see it on YouTube here. Just Epic Treasure. Click on my name and chat. And that's about it. I always have parties open for people to come frolic and join on Xbox. Everybody is welcome always. And other than that, that's what we'll be doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And definitely head over and check out that showcase stream. It should be a lot of fun. And the showcase is going to be amazing. So it'll be a lot of hype. Doom Q, another fantastic week. Let people know where they can find you, what you'll be up to, where your plans are coming in the near future. I know you got a podcast that you're launching soon. Do we have any word on that? Let people know where they can find you, what you're up to.
Oh, Riskit, I've been really busy over here trying to build this podcast to just make it the way that I want to. You know how this is. But yeah, this week I will be joining Boom for breakfast. So that will
like
be
at his
awesome.
house? You're like flying over? Oh, sorry.
Wait a minute,
No,
you guys
on his
going out to go get some
podcast.
breakfast?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
The way
maybe
you worded it sounded different.
Maybe he'll. No, that's the name of the show. Breakfast with Boom.
Yeah.
I'll be on that show.
Yeah.
And
Are you
I'll
going to
be
be on Breakfast with Boom, not going to have breakfast with Boom.
Yeah, it did sound like you were having breakfast with Boom. I was like, well, if you're going to be there, maybe we should catch up. But no, it's all good.
Yeah, you know we're messing with you. Of course
So I'll be joining him with his. He's doing a games show prediction for the Xbox showcase. So I'll be on there talking about that, and I'll also be going in deeper with my podcast. What else this week? Obviously Diablo, obviously. And, my usual, maintenance games, World of Warcraft,
Did you just
Forza,
call it
that kind of thing.
Diablo? Did you say, is that what you said? Or is it Diablo? Diablo?
Yeah. My BC McNasty. That's a great name. July 1st is when the first episode launches.
Ooh.
I've actually secured our very first product sponsor, so really excited about that. But you'll have to head on over to Boom Show to hear more about that.
Nice.
Very cool.
Fantastic. JediKnightPete, I'm jumping to you because you just jump in anyway. Another fantastic show. Let people know where they can find you, what you'll be up to, and how you.
Yeah, you guys can find me. Just want to let you know. Go ahead, Pete.
You won't find me. I'll be playing Diablo 4. I linked Epic Treasure's YouTube in the chat, guys. Please subscribe to her channel.
Thank you.
It's awesome. Really nice meeting you, Epic, and I've got you friended on Xbox now, so I'll be hitting you up for some games. Cutie, good luck with your show. Go ahead, Umbra. Let's go play some Diablo.
Absolutely, Umbra. Let people know where they can find you, what you'll be up to, how your week's looking, and what's going on with the podcast.
A few things. I mean, you all can find me, of course, on Twitter, Infinite Umbra or Umbra Infinite. You will find me either way. My podcast, of course, is The Fix on Thursdays at 8 o'clock Eastern. I'm also on Boom's other podcast. He has many. The Xbox Factor on Tuesdays at 12 o'clock Eastern. And of course, here on Fridays with all the family here. Cutie, good luck to you on yours. What else I was going to say? Let me share this to the chat. Sorry, my link to the podcast if you all want to subscribe to a brother's channel. Epic Treasure, thank you for joining us tonight. You have been a treasure. Yes, you has been a treasure.
You've been a pleasure, and I've been a treasure.
Absolutely. See, I like that. That's why we need to have you back right there. Just that rhyme alone was enough.
Dude.
Also, you follow a brother on Xbox when you get a chance. I mean, I might jump in your world and with my rogue and and carry you. You know what I mean? You know how it is. Huh?
He's not carrying anyone.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Save it for the voice chat. Save it for the parties, Umbra.
I'm talking about in the game. You see, you all minds on see this? You see this epic? Like I'm talking regular stuff. Yeah.
Oh, I know
They
what
always,
you mean.
see, they always misconstrue me. I am also actually about to jump in with Mav. He hit me up earlier, asked me to come in for like 15 minutes or so on the show. So
I'll see you there.
yeah. See you guys. Yeah, see you there. Hey, chat. Thank you all. Much love to you all. And of course, my panelists here in Risk. All love to you guys, of course, too. After this, though, I'm getting on Diablo. So,
Absolutely.
Diablo, here I come.
Absolutely. And look, guys, head over to jump over to Mav's chat now. Me and Umbra are going to head over there and just give our predictions. You probably, if you haven't heard our predictions of what's going to go on with the showcase, we will be over there in about 5 minutes. Chat's been absolutely amazing. Thanks for coming along, guys. And we will see you all hopefully next week. I don't know yet, but I will keep you updated on Twitter and I'll put a post out on the YouTube channel as well, just so everyone understands what we're going to be up to. And we'll see you all next week. Thank you, guys.
See ya.
Later, family.
Later.
Oh my god. You're